Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right
Good
to live?
morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media, share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone, but do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are going to do what I'm pretty sure is going to end up being a very, very dope episode. Like other episodes over here at the Roger Report Live, we're going to have an honest conversation about the importance of women. Yes, y'all, an honest conversation about the importance of women. Nothing to shock people. No, we're not doing that. Nothing just to say anything that you want to say. Nothing, just no ridiculous stuff because you love women, hate women, or however you feel about nothing ridiculous. We're going to have an honest conversation about the importance of women. But before we get too far into this, first, let me take a moment out to say, shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis. Appreciate y'all, because that's the fam. Shout out to all the people who hit that like button every time you get a chance. Remember, y'all, nothing's too old to like. Also, shout out to people who hit that hype button, y'all. You know, if you're a good steward of the channel, you know, not only do you watch it and listen to it, you go back, you make sure you hit the like button, and you make sure you hype the videos up, and you do it every chance you get. Don't worry about the fact that maybe this one came on last week and maybe this one came on last month. No. If you are a good steward of the channel, you make sure everyone you've checked out gets that like button and gets hyped up. Just make sure you do it, okay? And shout out to everyone who leaves comments after the stream, okay? So I saw some 2 comments. I got to read the whole things. There was some nice lengthier comments. I appreciate stuff like that. I'm going to definitely check those out and get a response to those as well. Shout out to everybody who leaves comments at the stream. You never know how much you can inspire some great shows in the future. So appreciate that. And gotta say shout out to everyone who has ever went above and beyond the call of duty and became a financial contributor over here at the Roger Report Live, because y'all allowed me to do things in a way that I just couldn't do the same way without it, and I can do things that I wouldn't be doing without y'all. So I appreciate y'all appreciate y'all big time, and want to give a special shout out and recognize my main man, Indigo Flow. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Hey, I could try to get all these big corporations to sponsor me, or I can make sure the power stays with the people. Okay, sometimes that's a choice. I don't know if it has to be a choice, but if it's got to be a choice, I may have to go with the people, and that's just real talk. And shout out to everybody who's checking in. It's always great that when you start a show, that you got a few people to check in right from Jump Street. But y'all know how I go around here. As they say, there can only be one. So shout out to the Highlander of today's stream. My main man, Trail Bentley, is in the building, representing like he always does. Shout out to Trail Bentley, doing it again. It's like his 34th time in a row, if my memory's correct. Shout out to you, my brother. Representing hashtag Long Live Habitual Line Steppers, hashtag Negroes in the Wilderness, hashtag Dignity Over Vagina, hashtag Al Gore's Babies, hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. We got my main man, Inspired Truth Broadcast, coming in right behind him. What's good? What's good? Shout out to LS Active. Great to have you, brother. Great to have you. Tunnel Runner is in the building. What's good, my brother? What's good? We got my main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable. The Pit Master is here, y'all. The Pit Master is here. Great to see you. Great to see you. We got Landlord Sims in the building. We got Landlord Sims in the building. Great to have you, brother. Great to have you. Shout out to All Hell Balamuccio. Okay, a little different, but I like it. A little different, but I like it. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to 7-9 Kaliakate. What's going on, my brother? The Great Black Reset is here. Great to see you. Great to see you, y'all. We gonna get into this, y'all. And again, an honest conversation, y'all. Not some hyped up stuff, an honest conversation about the importance of women. Because y'all know it's a lot of women out there who still, quote unquote, feel like they're not seen as important as they should be seen. This is happening, okay? You got the... I'm laughing at you, Great Black Reset. Talking that nonsense down there. Y'all, there are women who really believe that they are not being viewed in a proper way. Now, I'm going to say shout out to American society, all right? And any place whose society looks something like it, because there's this push for this thing called equality, okay? There's a push for this thing called equality. And I do believe equality should happen in professional areas. When you're at work, everything should be treated from an equality standpoint. You go to work, you should be an equal employee of other people there. Yes, you can have separation when it comes to management, but management should be management just like management is managed somewhere else, okay? But in a traditional sense, employees should be viewed upon as having equal abilities and equal say-so and things like that. Now, keep in mind, a lot of employees don't really get say-so unless management gives them a chance to get a say-so. But that should be rocking just about everywhere. When you're at work, you should be professional and things should be seen as professional. Now, from a social standpoint, women like to have advantages, okay? They say they want to be equal, but there's a lot of women, when you start socially treating them equally, they seem to have a problem with it, okay? You can see this as very simple as just going out on a date, okay? A lot of women want men to ask them out on a date because they like to say, well, whoever asks has to pay for a date. Now, these type of things come up when women like to, quote unquote, change the rules without changing the rules. They want to be seen as equal. But so, it's not about me being a woman. It's about the fact that you asked me out. But you really don't get women who going to ask any man out. Okay, that's more of a rare thing. Why? Because she understands if she asks the man out, he may hit up with, "Oh, I thought you was going to pay. You asked me out." See, she don't want a guy using the same rhetoric on her that she's going to use. Now, this is the thing, y'all. Can women be important? Yes, of course women can be important. Do we really go around hearing people suggesting that women cannot be important? Not really. You may have some crazy person here there. No, they might say any and everything. But generally in American society, do you see it being pushed that women cannot be important? Not at all. Okay. You see a lot of people saying that men should look out for women, and they're asking for special treatment. And they want men to believe that special treatment is equality, which makes no level of sense, because that tells me that you're not trying to get away from unequality situation or inequality type situation. If you want equality, you want equality. Now, if you don't want it, you don't want it. Now, I ain't telling people what to want, but if you want something, just say you want it and then stand on that. And if you don't want it, just say you don't want to stand on that, so we at least can understand where you are. Okay? We can at least understand. And, we can make some concessions as men here or there if we really feel like something is going out of pocket, or if we really see something that's going out of pocket, if we really think something is going out of pocket, Now, of course, women like to keep things in a very abstract way, so you can't really pin them down on anything. Now, I'm just going to say, if I talk to a person who makes statements, but you really can't pin down what they want, or what they're asking for, what they're claiming they need, what their issue is, I call it double talking. Maybe I'll say something about a person trying to speak out of both sides of their neck. Or I just may plain old call you a liar. Now, I'm going to say I call people liars equally. If you're trying to tell me something that should be easy enough to accept, with basic comprehension skills, and I can't really pin down what you're talking about, sound like you're lying to me. Now, I understand if you told me something about rocket sciences, you could use terms and stuff that the normal person wouldn't be used to use it, and then I wouldn't be able to really follow you, and that would go over my head, and I can accept that. See, I can accept, this is just, see, the problem is using these terms, and you talking about this stuff that's just a little bit over my head. I haven't been trained in that area, so I just don't really understand you. I'm not going to necessarily assume you're a liar. But if you're using basic terms and you're talking about basic stuff and I can't understand exactly what you're trying to say, it's probably because you're lying. Just is what it is. It's probably because you're lying. You're trying to pull the slick one, but you don't want me to call you out for trying to pull the slick one, and then they'll say things like, see, that's you men, y'all just don't know how to look at stuff the right way. No, I do know how to look at stuff the right way. I got basic comprehension skills, but included in that is my ability to see a liar. Okay, I have to be able to see liars too. Okay, and the great thing about liars is, the quicker you see them, the better you can save yourself from nonsense. Okay, so you want to get your liars pointed out early. Okay, you don't want to give them too much room to operate. You want to figure those out very early. All right, and it just is what it is on that note. Now, y'all, check out the title says the importance, y'all. Are women important? Yeah, I'm going to say something I think a lot of people never really thought about or never really knew how to take or involve this in the conversation. All right? Because it's an honest conversation about the importance of women. Now, let's think about that statement, y'all. What is the importance of women? Now, if you're being honest and you think about this statement, how can you come up with an actual importance? Because if you're talking about equality, nobody is important until they do something to make themselves important. And I know a lot of people never thought about it from those terms. But let's be real about it. If we're talking about importance in a world where we're supposed to have equality, because in American society, this little piece of the world is supposed to be an equal piece in the world. The women always saying they want to be treated equally. They think it's wrong to not look at them as equal people. I'm not gonna say they're crazy, but what I am gonna ask is, if you want to live in a equal society, how do you become important? Because that would tell me the only way for you to become important is the same way men have to become important. You got to make yourself important. You got to go out here and do something in the world to make yourself important. And if you don't go out here and do something to make yourself important, you're going to be looked at as a nobody. Now, how is it okay for men to be looked at as nobodies, but it's not okay for me to look at women as nobodies? Now, let's keep that real. There's a different scale, about life. People look at things in general ways. Some stuff be a little bit different, but people can agree to it. If you're a celebrity, a lot of times by a lot of people that you do not know, they're going to look at you as important. Because, there's people who worship celebrities. Let's just keep it real. There's folks who worship celebrities out here. There is a celebrity worship culture in America. All right. And maybe, it's not celebrity worship, but they understand that celebrities have money and they try to extract some of that money out of them. Let me treat this customer a little bit better because I know this guy here can do a big tip. This girl here can do a big tip. This woman here can give a big tip. Or maybe a business owner just likes the fact that he can advertise a particular celebrity comes to his establishment. Okay? Sometimes it can be a woman. She might like the fact that a celebrity comes to her establishment. See how you can do that? Because a man can own the business, but so can a woman. Now, shout out to Trail Bentley. Now, I asked, what's the importance of women? He gave an answer. He said procreation. No, they're not important in procreation. For procreation to happen, you have to have a life giver be involved in the process. Who is a life giver? Men. So how can women be important in procreation? You can't procreate anything a man don't give you to procreate. Okay. So how are women important? If we want to be real about it, sounds like they have no ability to be more important than any man. If you need sperm to have a baby, because sperm is where life is, then how can being a woman be that big a deal when it comes to procreation? Now, let's keep it real. A lot of people want us to view women as important when it comes to procreation, but what are you doing outside of incubating the sperm that I gave you as a man? How are you more important? You're not. So if the man's not important, that means she can't be important. The man is the life giver. And I know a lot of folks kind of got upset once I started putting that up. A man is a life giver. All right. Okay. Now, shout out to Trey Bailey. He said, never said more important. Well, if it's not more important, then it's just not important, right? It just blends in the background. So I get you there. And I don't want to put no words in your mouth. But all I'm saying is I can't view a woman as important if I can't view men as important. And something where it takes those two to tango. And the man is the life giver. So the woman just ain't that big a deal, even when it comes to procreation. So if she's no more important than a man, why act like she's more important? But again, y'all, this is equality. This is what women say they want. They want men to act like them getting pregnant ain't that big a deal because they want to be treated as equals. Now, you'll have women who say, well, I'm pregnant, though. You should give me some type of, special treatment because I'm pregnant. Why? Why you can't handle being pregnant? Because the thing is, Either you're different or you're the same. As a man, what are you asking me to do? Now, see, if someone said, well, Roger, wouldn't you treat your woman special? Well, no, that's not the same thing. I'm treating somebody special because that's my woman. But if she ain't my woman, why can't I just treat her as an equal? Okay. That means when we go somewhere, if I pay, she can pay. Okay. Yeah. Y'all know something I've noticed? All right. A lot of restaurants nowadays, they have this thing where they're not gonna they don't split the bills up anymore. You can go out with a big group, but they don't want to split the bills up. Or they might allow you to do maybe like two different bills. Like you can get one person with a bill, or 3 to 4 people on one bill, then another 3 or 4 people on another bill. But they don't like splitting the bills up. Now you know what I ain't never seen, and I'm just saying, I ain't never seen it. I ain't never seen it, online. Okay, I ain't never heard a story about it. Ain't nobody ever told me about a woman that even know a woman that know a woman that know a woman. But ever since the restaurants start saying like, no, we kind of need these bills to kind of run together. I ain't never seen a woman volunteer to pay for the food. I ain't never seen that. Have men volunteered to pay for food? Yeah, I done seen that plenty of times. I ain't never seen a woman say, no, I got it. I just take care of it. Okay. Now I know there may be somebody out there who's saying, well, no, I know some woman who did that. When? Were there any men there? Were there any men there? Because if y'all are secretly taking care of a whole bill, but it's three women out at one time, that ain't saying nothing. It ain't saying nothing positive anyway. That's just a woman's thing. Okay. That's just a woman's thing. Shout out to Brad Invason. Brad Invason says reproduction. That's it, Rod. And see what I'm gonna say, y'all. This is where what people shouldn't do. You look at the title of a show, and then you give an answer where you think it's gonna relate to the title of a show. And I'm gonna say it doesn't make sense, bro. How can women be important in reproduction? Because to say women are important in reproduction, you are implying that they're more important than men. So no, they're not important in reproduction. What's important in reproduction is a life giver, which is men. You see, but see, this is the training. Men have been under feminist training too. We think important, then we instantly go to, well, she can get pregnant. So what? She can't get pregnant unless I give her sperm. So that's no big deal. Taking care of a kid for 9 months is nothing like taking care of a kid for a lifetime. Okay. And especially, it ain't even like taking care of a kid for 18 years. So no, they're not important. It can't be. But see how we train to just lean right into something? We trying to figure out a way to make a woman important. All right. And I'm not saying it's wrong that y'all want a woman to be important. I mean, you could feel anything you want to feel at the end of the day. Okay. Shout out to what's this? NY Evolved. Okay. Well, I guess where there's a C in there. So NYC Evolved. Oh wow. What's up, Roger? Girls are going to fight once the bill ain't split on a girls' night out. Look, I don't really know what they do on a girls' night out because we don't really see that. But I'm saying if it's a girls' night out and one of them take care of the bill, that's something amongst women. It has nothing to do with men, so it don't count. I'm gonna say that it has nothing to do with men, so it don't even count. I've been out with women and men on plenty of occasions, and I have never ever heard one woman say I take care of the bill. Not once. Okay, never. And when you talk about humans on a large level, it's hard to say never. But I'm saying never. I ain't never seen where women went out, where men and women went out, and women have volunteered to take care of the bill. I just ain't never seen it. I ain't even seen it on the internet. Okay? I ain't never seen it. So, it is what it is. Now shout out to Brad and Vanson, if I'm saying your name right, based on how you got to spell Brad and Vanson. He says, no, Roger, I heard what you said, and yes, you need both partners for a baby, but it's the woman's job due to the fact that she has it underneath her for 9 months. No, Brad. What you're doing is you said women. Okay, you're saying procreation because you're trying to make a woman more important than a man. Because why did you say that? If both of them are important for, that cancels each other out. See, we can't have it both ways. Even men, y'all, we can't have it both ways. When you say someone's important, you're implying that the other person is not as important. So when you say anything about procreation, you are implying that the man is not as important as the woman is, which means procreation is off the table. Can't have it both ways. That's what I'm saying. Okay? You cannot have it both ways. Either both of them have the same level of importance, or one is more important than the other. Now, if you're going to throw procreation out there as something to say women are important due to procreation, at the end of the day, unless you're going to say she's less important to a man, then you're implying that she's more important than a man. Because you can't produce another human without a man. Women can do a lot of stuff, but they can't produce no human without no man. So how is she important? Period. She's not. Shout out to Shark Sims. He says artificial womb will be here in June. In June 2028. Look, artificial wombs or not, y'all. The thing is, you still need the sperm that gives life to go to an egg. Okay? So at the end of the day, if we're talking about the importance of women, procreation has to be off the table if you're going to be serious. All right? Procreation has to be off the table because this is an honest conversation about the importance of women. An honest conversation. In an honest conversation, procreation ain't on the table. It's that simple at the end of the day. And if it is on the table, the only thing I'm going to argue is that men are more important because man is a life giver and women are not. A man can have babies for a lot longer than a woman can. So if I really want to dig into that, it's just gonna make women look much smaller. Because I ain't gonna say nothing about what people feel like. I'm just gonna say what the truth is. Okay? Truth is a man can have 100 women pregnant at the same time. The most I've known for any woman to have is there have been times where a woman could have 8 babies in one pregnancy. Cool. Now a man could literally have 1,000 women pregnant at the same time. So it is what it is. The most you're gonna give me is 8. All right. That's as much as I heard of up to this point in my life. 8 babies at one time. But a man, he can have 1,000 different women pregnant at the same time. It is what it is. Okay. So now I'm looking for an honest conversation about the importance of women. Now, women can get jobs, right? Yet you see women online complaining about jobs. Now, this is the thing. If you live in America, and shout out to all my people listening around the world, because I know it's places like this in other parts of the world. If you live in America, if won't nobody give you a job, you can give yourself one. See, that's what my daddy told me. Okay. I ain't never been worried about employment since he told me that. Okay. Somebody gonna give me a job, or I'm gonna give myself one. It is what it is. But what I'm gonna do is make some money. That's what I'm gonna do. As long as I'm able to think for myself, as long as I got a healthy body, with that, healthy mind, healthy body, money is gonna get made. It's just that simple at the end of the day. All right. And I understand you're only as good as your last date, even when it come to work. So now, this is the thing, y'all. What I'm looking for is what is the importance of women. Now, I'm gonna say this up front, y'all. And I got a guest coming up too, but I'm gonna say this, y'all. We're not gonna sit here and just put women down. That's because that's not what this show is for. I want an honest conversation about the importance of women. What are their importance? Okay. Now, I think they can be important. I'm not going to say they can't, but what I want is a honest discussion about their importance because women have fought no wars. Okay. Sometimes physical battles have to be fought and the women don't do it. All right. Now, they could protest things. Okay. And women have quote unquote ways of protesting here and there. How effective those protests are, somewhat debatable. you know, I don't really remember women protesting in a big way, like it not like marching or something to get anything done. Women, what they do the most is they just ask men to give them stuff, and then men will eventually give them some of the stuff that they're asking for, and that's how women get things. Women's way of the world is to manipulate the world on their behalf. So basically, they try to get men and other women to do things that will help them on their behalf. Okay. Other than that, what do they do? Now, I'm not saying that as a shaming thing. I'm putting it as a real question. Other than that, what do they do? Because when I hear women complain about things that they have control over, I kind of wonder why you complain instead of just fixing it. If women are broke, why don't you just go get some money? Okay. And I get it. People gonna say, well, Rod, you saying it like it's easy. No. Hard things are for adults. Easy is supposed to be for children. And as an adult, we like easy things here and there, but who's supposed to take care of the hard stuff if adults aren't supposed to do it? So at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it doesn't make a difference that it's hard. You're an adult. Okay? If you complain about money, just go get some. If you want a Fortune 500 CEO, go become one. Well, Roger, that's not easy. But you're an adult, ain't you? Don't adults have to deal with things that aren't easy? If we're equal as people, aren't adults responsible for creating their own versions of success? Now, shout out to Shark Sims, or I'm going to say Landlord Sims. He said after 2028, they only important because men get horny. That's an interesting statement, but I got my favorite kid, Tony, in the back. I'm going to bring him on stage so he can get a word in. Okay. We got, hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. Boom. There we go. How you doing, brother? We have Project Human in the building. How you doing? You got the mic. Get it in, my brother. Get it in.
All right. Happy Monday, Roger.
Happy Monday.
We're glad to see you back on track. We're glad to have you back, man. You scared me a little bit last time.
I see what you did there. Yeah. Say back on track.
Yeah. You almost pissed me off. Are women important? Yeah, they are. They are important. Because they allegedly work. They allegedly pay bills. They allegedly take care of children.
Is that it? Did we lose you?
No, okay. They allegedly operate the machines that men invented and created in the kitchen to quote unquote cook food. They allegedly might have bedroom fun with men here and there. They are important for now. But past a certain point in the future, I don't think they will be relevant because once you reach the point where you have the artificial womb, where you can go in the lab and spend $20,000 and give a vial of main juice and come back 3, 4 months later to get your son, who was at that time going to be a baby, I don't think they'll be that important anymore. Once you have the C8000 Plus with self-tightening coochie and vibrating coochie, with swappable face, holographic skin color, where we'll get to, you can choose the color that you want. You pick the face that you want because you're tired of having Halle Berry. Now you want Rihanna for a change. Oh, it's gonna be a different ball game now, and it's closer than we think. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Sutter Kane. Sutter Kane says that's simplistic thinking, Roger. The quality of plant can be determined by the soil or how much sun the plant receives. The role that women play in creation of a child is equal to a man's. Yes, okay. Therefore, it's not important because it's equal. But he said something else. I'm gonna finish what he was saying because he already said they're not important. He don't realize it, but maybe this is a she. I don't know. But they said it's not important. Okay. You said yes. Yet the quality of the child is determined by how she cultivates that seed. A woman who reads to an unborn child is more valuable than the woman who's a drug addict. Well, okay, so now you're making different. You're saying about differences in the women. Okay, cool. So how is the woman important then? If she's only equal to a man, then how is she important? Because to say someone is important is implying that they're important. They're more important than somebody else. See, when people talk about important people are coming, that means they're supposed to be treated differently than other people. Let's be realistic, y'all. Okay, I know this is a hard subject for people to somewhat wrap their minds around, but a VIP is not the same as anybody else coming in. You can have an event with 20,000 people coming, but you can have 20 VIPs. They're not going to be treated the same. They're not. You go to a construction crew, everybody going to do their part. But a manager is going to be perceived as more important because if someone has to make a decision, they bring it to a manager for final say. Okay, the building going up, but if there's any dispute about something, they're going to bring it to somebody from a management perspective. It happens in everything in life. Somebody got to make the final call on stuff. That person has a higher importance than the other people involved in the same thing. Now, that's not saying a human life is not important. So why do we view women as someone who has to be important in the first place? What do we as men have from a general standpoint that they don't got? Because they do got something that we don't got, and that's for sure. So why are we fighting to make things comfortable for women in a society where they keep saying they want equality? I'm not saying they should be treated as equals, but how come treating them as equals is not looked at as a nice thing to do? Because if we're gonna treat them as equals, yeah, if friends go out, the women should pick up the bill sometime. You know, the guys pick up the bills. How come the women don't pick up the bills? That don't sound equal to me. If it's cold outside and I'm trying to get on public transportation, well, if I beat you on the train, okay, if I beat you on the train, shouldn't I be able to sit down without getting up for a woman? And shouldn't everybody be cool with the fact that I'm sitting down and the woman is standing up? Now, I understand people would say things like, well, what if the woman pregnant? Well, I mean, what if she's pregnant? Don't she got a man? Why is that? Why is her being pregnant by another man my issue? Now, I'm not saying it ain't polite to give a woman a seat, but if I'm equal, I ain't got to give you my seat just because you're pregnant. I can hit you with it. Why don't you and your man get a cot in? You know, you on the train and you're obviously pregnant. Why don't y'all put some money to get in the car? Because y'all can buy a car just like I can buy a car. Well, you know, going to this particular place at this particular time is not necessarily convenient, because I understand that. Because I look at downtown Chicago like that. It's not very convenient to go into downtown Chicago, you know, anywhere between 9 and 5. It's just not a convenient thing to do. I totally get it. But why would I make extra effort for you just because you're female? What could I do that you can't? You got it just like I got it. So what's the point of looking at women as they're important? Because when we get down to it, y'all, unless you're somebody in some type of position of power, the general person is looked at as a nobody. So if you look at people as nobodies, and I'm just using that as a term that everybody can understand, you know, you get where I'm coming from. So if you look at people as nobodies, why should a woman be viewed as a little bit better of a nobody than some man? I don't see the importance of that. You know, people say, well, you know, women can have jobs. Yeah, but so can men. Every person is supposed to tell somebody else that I can do something where you're comfortable enough to help, where I can help you make some money. Because remember, a job generally is a position that someone can fill to help somebody else make some money. Now they're gonna pay you, but the reason they're employing you is so you can help them make some more money. So a job is supposed to, well, from a general standpoint, the job is so for the importance of the job owner. Whoever owns the job is supposed to be able to make a good profit because you did something. They're gonna give you something, but they trying to reap extra money themselves. That's why jobs are important. You have to convince somebody that it's a good position or it's a good fit for them to do what they doing, and you can do your role, and both y'all get paid. That's how jobs work. All right. Shout out to Luck, man. He said, I think you're asking, do women of the future hold any value past their wombs and service of men or society? No, I'm not asking a question about anybody in the future. I'm asking a question about today. Now, the future gonna still be the future, but I'm saying today. Why do we have an attitude in this country that we have to look out for women when we're supposed to be treating folks as equals? So no, I'm not even saying in the future. I'm saying today. You know, that whole thing about women and children first, how could that make sense in an equal society? Now, you know what would make some level of sense? Well, you know, children first, you can say that. I can get children first, you know, because they haven't lived as long as the adults have. And then somebody may say, well, somebody got to raise the kids. Well, no. Whoever get them, get them. Us as adults, we gonna let's let the children get away first, and then if there's room for adults, then let the adults do what they can do. All right. Now, if the adults did what they could do, I'm pretty sure in a lot of scenarios, men gonna come out on top in that because of, you know, generally men have a little bit more physical capability than the average woman. You know, that doesn't have to be true. That's something a woman allowed to be true. Because if a woman goes to the gym and she starts working out, she can become stronger than a lot of men. Let's be real about that too, y'all. You know, people say, well, you know, women are the weaker sex. Kind of by choice, right? Because can a woman go get trained and become stronger than men? I mean, they got these weightlifting contests out here, and you got this whole female section of weightlifting. Ain't those women stronger than most men? You know, if you got some woman picking up 500 pounds and you got the average guy and ask him to pick up 500 pounds, I don't know if the average guy can do that. Okay. Just being realistic, I don't think the average guy can pick up 500 pounds. But you got women who weight lift and they train and they do all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, the weaker sex, but ain't that a choice at this point? Because ain't nobody stopping them from going to the gym. You know, I can agree that they're generally weaker, but ain't that a choice at this point? Now, Brad has just come up, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the mic, Brad. You got it. What's going on, my brother?
Thank you, Roger, for letting me on. It's an honor to be on the Roger Report Live. And don't worry, I'm a super chat later. And as far as this topic goes, this topic is very it's very controversial because, you know, I feel like throughout all of last year and even going into this year, it's been an absolute war when it comes to like both sexes. And I do think that a conversation like this is needed because I do think it's important to separate the real and the fake. I do think it's important to highlight the things that men and women in general bring to society. That last point that you made about women, the average woman could be as strong as the average man if she goes to the gym. Roger, that is absolutely crazy.
Is it? Ain't the gyms out there? Can't she go? Is somebody stopping her?
Roger, 15-year-old boys have defeated adult women.
I understand that. But if there's women who can lift 500 pounds because they wouldn't worked out, I mean, I don't think the average guy walking down the street can just stop and pick up 500 pounds.
No, not, yeah, probably not. But at the same time, that average guy could go to the gym for 1 or 2 months and could down the line, though. A woman.
I mean, but that ain't the society we live in. You know, there's people that go to the gym. I'm not saying they don't, but the average man going to the gym, I don't think we live in that world. So the women could go to the gym and be stronger than the men.
No. A woman will never even come close to.
No. I'm saying we got to think about this realistically. Most men ain't in the gym. Let's be real about that. Most men are not in the gym. So at this point, it is a choice for her to be quote unquote part of the weaker sex because she won't go to the gym and become stronger. She can become stronger than the average guy.
No. Women are protected and cherished all throughout the world.
For what? Well, I mean, throughout the world is a little bit different. In America, they got equal rights. I'm not saying there ain't other places that they don't have equal rights, but I'm saying you're in a society where women can pretty much do what they want to do. Okay? They technically can do more than men because they have what's called reproductive rights that men don't have. So the average woman, if she chose to go to the gym, she could be stronger than the average man because the average man ain't going to the gym. That's just a fact.
No, that is not a fact, Roger. Just me being a biological man, I will always be stronger than a woman.
No.
I am a biological man.
You're stronger than the average woman because the average woman don't go to the gym. You're stronger than the average woman. There are women who are stronger than you who train. It just is what it is, bro. Women that train, there's some women who train that are stronger than you.
Right.
Are you trying to say there's no women who train that ain't stronger than you?
Even the strongest woman would it would not be a guarantee that she would beat an average man that doesn't go to the gym. This is undisputable fact, Roger. This is not even.
So somebody training can't be the person that ain't training.
Not when it comes to like a biological man going up against a biological woman. No.
Someone who is training can't be someone who isn't training.
So if it's two members of the same sex, perhaps. But if it's a biological man versus a biological woman, no matter how long the woman goes to the gym and how long the man doesn't go to the gym, 95% of the time that man is gonna beat that woman because we are biologically different. We have different hormones, we have different everything.
And see, shout out to landlord saying, he said, "You're wrong, Roger." And I'm gonna say, no, I'm not. Because
You
there's
are absolutely
women who train and get into competitions, they can lift more than most men. Now, y'all not looking at the fact that most women ain't going to the gym. That's not what I'm saying. I said if she went, she could be stronger than the average man. See, y'all looking at women because it's like, yeah, I get it. In general, they don't go to the gym either. From a general standpoint, they don't go to the gym. I'm not talking about a woman who's just gonna stay the way she is. If she went and started training, there's a lot of men she could beat in a lot of different things. If she went and started, now they're not going to do it, but nobody keeping them from doing it. That's the point. No one's keeping them from doing it. They could do it if they wanted to. The gym is open. Okay, that's what I'm saying. The gym is open. Matter of fact, there's gyms that are open 24 hours a day. She could do it if she wanted to. Most of them are not going to take that on. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that they're not going to take it on. I'm just saying it's an accurate thing that they're not going to take that on. You know,
yeah.
but them just not deciding to take it on don't change the facts of the situation. The gyms are still open.
Correct. The gyms are still open, but at the same time, a woman that is on steroids can't even beat a man that isn't on steroids and probably only goes to the gym once a week. We have different bone structures. We have different everything.
You keep trying to stay in reality. I said if women did go, which is not reality. They could. They just don't. If they started going without the men going, then they would be in better shape.
Yes, they would be in better shape, but that would still not change the fact that no matter how hard that a woman goes to the gym, she's never going to beat a man that doesn't go to the gym. We are biologically different, Roger. Roger, even women that are strong and that go to the gym still want to be with men that are overly 6 feet tall and that can take care of them and dominate them.
You are lying. You are saying that you are you are lying because you're saying a woman who goes to a gym and actually weight trains, can't come across the average man and she can lift 300 pounds. Okay, she can just straight do 300 pounds, and then just some average guy gonna walk in there who ain't did no training at all. He just walking in off the street. He just gonna come in there lifting 300? No, that's not reality.
I would slightly put more money on that guy because once again, we are biologically different.
I understand we're biologically different, but we're talking about a woman who's training versus a man who is not.
Exactly. Yes.
Men do not walk in off the street and start benching 300. They don't. But that's just reality.
No, but the average man, even if he doesn't go to the gym, can at least bench 100 pounds. Whereas the average woman that doesn't go to the gym,
the average woman, I said if the average women start going to the gym, which means they're no longer the ideal of the average woman you have. That's why I'm saying you can't seem to connect this, bro. If they started going to the gym, which is a choice, they would be different than the average woman you have right now. They would be different. But they would look like the women who go to the gym.
Yes, no, Roger, I 1000 understand. I understand where you're coming from. I understand your point. But what I'm saying is even the women that go to the gym, and I agree, most women don't go to the gym like that, even though female con creators at the gym are now popping more now than ever before. Yes, the average woman still doesn't go to the gym like that. But what I'm saying is that even if the average woman were to go to the gym 24/7, 4 to 5 times a week, it would still not be a guarantee that she could beat a man that doesn't go to the gym, just because from the fact that, going back to my original point, we are biologically different. We have different bone structures. We have different.
Okay, it's cool. It's cool. We gonna move on. because we got Ados up here. So we gonna move on. I'm letting it go.
Shout out Ados, man.
Ado Sims, you got it, my brother.
This summer, 2028, we have the artificial womb coming to Costco's. 1999. Come and get one. Nah, how y'all fellas doing? Happy Monday, man.
Doing all right, brother.
Yo.
Now, honestly, I definitely understand where Brad coming from. You were sounding like Ketanji Brown Jackson for a minute, Roger. I gotta say that just to let you know, B. But yeah, the average woman, the average man is better than your non-average woman. And
right.
We've seen this in many of instances. Now, to Roger's defense, you can always find a man with no legs somewhere. So I think that's where Roger's going with it. But at the end of the day, a college soccer team beat the U.S. female soccer team. Then they had some high schoolers play the WNBA chicks, and they got they behinds whipped.
And that was my point that I gave to Roger.
But that's not a fair comparison, because those are people training in the same things. A fair comparison would be, can a WNBA team go to a random park and just beat any random squad that's on the court? Because they're not basketball trained people. You see what I'm saying? High schoolers are training in basketball. The WNBA people are training in basketball. So you're talking about two groups of trained people. But if you're talking about a person who's untrained versus a person who is trained, there's a big bridge between those two. And my thing is, we got to accept that bridge.
I'll bet you $1,000 they not beating the average. They not going to the park down on Cicero and beating them dudes that's in the park playing ball, drinking 40s. That ain't happening either. And not. You could say they not trained. They don't be. That ain't happening. Like you gotta
That's a strong stance. That's a strong stance.
I'm taking it, but we are we all, and that's the problem. Like we are literally different. And the ill part is, that's why I wanted to come up. It seems like it's a diabolical scheme to get females to trick themselves out of their position, and I think that's what has happened right now that we're looking at. Like, because all right, after childbirth, what use do you have? Oh, you could cook, you can clean, you can take care of kids, you could sew, but they don't want to do any of that stuff. Okay. And someone told them that they don't have to do it. You shouldn't do it. So it's like who made that? Like whoever it is must have not liked women, but women think that entity likes them, so they listen, not knowing that if behind the closed doors they was like rubbing their hands together, like we got these bitches, because it don't make no sense. Like why would you give up all your powers to be powerless now?
Now I'm gonna say shout out to Gold P real quick. He said she can't, Roger, and he put the K in the can't. So if she can't, Roger, stop it, sir. Get out of here, Roger. Well, shout out to you, Gold P. Shout out to you. But you know what? I think you just made a great point right there, brother. Yeah, a lot of women they have taken on this thing about what they can and can't do and what they not gonna do when it comes to a man. And I wonder, at some point in time, do men honestly ever say, well, why are you important then? Because real talk, now don't get me twisted, y'all. I hear the women saying some of the same stuff y'all hear. All right? A woman gonna say, well, I ain't gonna cook for a man. And I'd be like, okay, that's cool, but why would I be bothered with you if you ain't gonna cook? See, that's my thing. Why would I bother with you? You ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. You got 98 things to tell me about what you're not gonna do. And I'd be trying to figure out how you important then. Because I'd be like, if you ain't gonna do nothing for me, how are you important? Well, I'm important because I'm a woman. I'm not a woman, so how does that make you important to me? Okay? The women that are important to me is women I happen to be related to. Okay? I mean, outside of that, it ain't a whole bunch. I know some people because I grew up in some churches. I know some people I've worked with. I know some people who related to other people I really mess with. Other than that, how are you important to me? You just some other person in the street. Same way as other men in the street that I do not know. Okay, the importance is not the same. Okay, the importance is not the same. So the thing is, as men, how are we supposed to register the importance of women, especially if women are saying what they're not going to do for men? I don't get it.
I tell her my new thing is looking like after looking at everything going on. I tell a chick if we not having no kid, if you're not pregnant, we not even thinking about marriage. Marriage is for families, and I can't guarantee you're gonna have a kid when I get married and you didn't lock me in and getting half of my goddamn dental and all of that. So you got to have that. You got to buy them sneakers first before you get on the court. Don't tell me you on the court and don't got the sneakers. Nah, we ain't doing that.
Yeah,
But that's because they talk themselves into some craziness, and now it's like, you ever seen G.I. Joe? You remember how like Cobra Commando and them always like had the illest scheme and plot, and everybody had to figure it out, and you know what I mean, and shoot the lasers and stop. I think that's what happened because, like, I like to sit in the crib and just deep thoughts. I'm at the cigar bar in my brain, and I always thought I'm like, how did why? All you have to do is wash dishes. Damn.
All right. Shout out to Compassionate Collins. He says, reasons, Roger, black men make the mistake of entertaining black women's quote unquote reasons, which inevitably leads to rabbit holes to nowhere. Laugh out loud. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm gonna say this. Yes, black men, we do entertain black women's reasoning. But as a person who listened to them, because I listen to them and I talk to them, I find some of their ideas to be quite crazy, and a lot of them are quite entertaining because it's literally laughable. If you don't do anything for me, I don't understand how you're supposed to be important. Now, this is not me saying human life ain't important. We're not talking about it from that scale. I'm saying you're trying to be important to a person. Can I make money off you? Because if I can make money off you, yeah, you're gonna have some level of importance. And I'm saying it that way on purpose because I know it offends some people, but this is the reality. If you have a job, you're employed because somebody's making money off you. That's why you have the job. If they couldn't make money off you, you probably wouldn't be employed. You have to go find it somewhere else. Because the average job is designed so somebody can make some money off you. That makes you important to them. That's why they care whether you come to work or not. They don't really care whether you come to work or not. They care, did somebody come fill the position that they make money off of? That's what they really care about. you know? So when it comes down to it, why do we see women as these important things as if they're not just like men? I don't see no grander importance to them than I see to men, especially if women going around talking about what they not gonna do for you. It don't even make sense to me. I don't get it. You ain't got to do nothing for me, but you just don't have to be important to me either. But turn around, I'm gonna let you have it since you done came up. You got it, my brother.
Yeah, Roger. They have no importance. They are here to be a helpmate. A helpmate. If they are not helping a man, there's no use to them. They are only here to be a helpmate to help a man and help society continue. That
That's
is
it.
their purpose.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, women are saying that they want to have their lives, they want to carve their lives out. That's not, depending upon what some man is doing.
And that's what's destroying society all over the world. That's why we have a birth rate in Korea that's below zero. And, when they are going for themselves and not, it's destroying the world. Their selfishness.
Well, I'm a, I'm gonna say okay. Um, I'm totally fine with women, who want to pursue some type of career for themselves. I don't care nothing about that. Do what you do, because there's gonna be something that's important to you that should exist that's not gonna be important to me. It just is what it is. You're gonna study something that I don't care nothing about, but it's nice to be able to fact check a thing. So somebody got to study it so we can get some real information on it at the end of the day. So But I'm looking at something from a realistic standpoint. Because you do have a job and you do earn money, you can pay bills too. So I don't see a woman's needs as important either. You know, I do honestly believe, especially a lot of black men, we think women have to be taken care of when we should let them not be taken care of, because they're taking on a man's role, which to go out and earn money for the family. And I'm never gonna say it's bad for somebody to go out and earn money for the family. But if you're gonna do that, you should take what come with earning money for the family. Things such as paying your bills, keeping your credit right, or improving your credit. You know, putting the down payment on the home, or putting the security deposit down in the first month rent to get an apartment. Why are women still looking for men to do these things for them? And why are men still doing it enough where women are looking for it?
Well, you remember, I think we had this conversation a couple of months ago on when we was going back and forth, and people were saying women aren't smart. Women are smarter than, I'm thinking now, women are smarter than men. I'm telling you, because like you just said, how are you still doing this stuff with a person that don't need it? She got $1 million, and you taking your $1,000 to provide and protect. And you know, come on, like they literally get. They got it. You got to give it to them. And I think, and that's why I always tell people, don't let your wrong head think for your head.
Now shout out to Compassion Callous. He said patronizing behavior involves acting in a superficially kind or helpful manner while actually conveying a sense of superiority, condescension, or arrogance. Now I'm gonna say this: at the end of the day, ain't nobody got to convince me that they don't need my help. I'm gonna say that. When you tell me you don't need my help, I'm gonna be like, all right, and I'm walking away. Because number one, I didn't want to do the thing in the first place. You know, have y'all ever seen a random person just like taking a couch into a home? You know, somebody's. You know what I'm saying? You could politely offer somebody, maybe they happen to be moving and they taking a couch up a flight of stairs. I'm not saying it's bad if you ask, hey, you want some help? I see you got to get that couch up them stairs. They might say yeah when they first moving in. But if I ask you, do you want my help to get that couch upstairs? And you say, no, I got it. You ain't gonna. I'm gonna be done left so much smoke after you said no, I got it. Like, bro, you is not gonna get a good look at my face once you tell me that. I'm not begging to help anybody. Okay, I'm not begging to help anybody. Women want to do the things that men do, and I'm cool with that. But my thing is, do it all the way. Go get you a job, take care of yourself, and make it just like men got to make it. Because when we have a society, I see what happens to men that don't make it. Basically, nothing. You're going to end up in prison. You're going to end up homeless, or you're going to end up dead. That's what we do to men as a society. So now I'm looking at women in this equal eye, and if they can't make it, I'm thinking they supposed to end up in prison. They supposed to end up dead or end up homeless. Why is that not cool? How come as a man, if you say stuff like people say, well, you know, you're a misogynist. Why? Because I don't want to help you. You don't want to help me. I don't want to help you. Ain't that equality? Because what we can say is we're in a society that everybody gonna be taken care of. We're not in that society. You know? And do we want to live in that society? I don't necessarily think I want to. Truth be told. And I respect you. If you want to fail in life, I respect your right to fail. You know, and this is something I really want black folks to start grabbing a hold of, and even start telling their kids this, and their cousin this, and their uncle this, or their auntie this, and everybody who think they owe you something. Now, I ain't really looked into that story with Glorilla, but I saw one clip or something, and I seen somebody mention in the chat. So I don't really know what the story is. I might look into it. Maybe I'll do it as a story. But I did see a person that I think was her sister on some, we want some money. And it seemed like his Glorilla done blew up and she got broke relatives. Why ain't you working for her? I don't even get that. So you just want somebody to give you some money. Well, you know the head person. Why you just can't get a job working for?
I think the Glorilla thing is juxtapose Glorilla as a man. These people were not they were not out there when she was shooting in the gym, and now she out the gym and she in the league, and everybody want a piece. Like, and it goes back to like I think Tunnel Runner said it, a helpmate. All you gotta be is a helpmate. You could have been helping her get her little career off the ground, making Glorilla t-shirts and this and that, but they ain't do that. And now they on the internet complaining. Like, these females is out here complaining that they want a man that's making $1 billion, and everybody's trying to tell them once he's making $1 billion, he's not even looking for you.
Well, but you know what? I mean, that is true, but I hate the fact that people get into these conversations about these men who make so much, because I don't believe that's an important thing, because there's only so many of them, and at the end of the day, the women are looking for help from everybody. And I'm gonna say this: I understand that while your friend was blowing up, you couldn't really put in like that because you couldn't afford to. You had to make sure you could eat too, and you had to eat while your friend was still broke. That doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't believe in your friend. But if you do believe in your friend and your friend, quote unquote, blow up, why don't you work for your friend? Or if it's your brother or your sister, why don't you go to work for them? Why are you looking for free money?
Well, that's because everybody that was working for her when she wasn't nothing got jobs, and you ain't get in. You could have been there. You could have been doing something. Yeah, you got a 9 to 5, but you ain't got to put money in and invest in it, but you could still be at the videos. You could still, you know what I mean, hit Roger, make sure Roger got some cool beats to listen to. You could still go to Roger's shows and support his shows, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. You could still, it's stuff you
I
could
get
do.
what you're saying. And I'm saying maybe a person and their thinking did not believe that they could really do that. But this is what I'm saying. Let's say I got a brother and somehow his career done went jackpot tomorrow. Now, I know him personally. I got his phone number. Now, maybe for me, I couldn't support you at that time because I was too broke. But now that you own, bro, what can I do to work for you? There's something you're going to need. And I got an end on the it guy. If it's my brother, I got the end. So what you need done that ain't nobody doing yet? Well, we need somebody to do X, Y, and Z. Well, how much you willing to pay me? Because I do it. You know you can trust me to do it. I'm your brother. I'm just saying there's ways to get in. And a lot of times people don't want to do that because, unfortunately, I'm going to say a lot of us been told that you don't do it unless a white person approve of it. You know what I'm saying? So that white man didn't tell you it's okay to work for your brother. So sometimes you will have an attitude about working for your brother. But your brother wants the money, you know? And your brother can probably pay you more than what you would normally get paid in that position, especially seeing that you have no experience anyway. So, you know, I think people got to start thinking about stuff in a better way or in a better context because, you know, I understand I'm in a society where women are presented as equals, which means I don't have to have any special care for their welfare.
Roger, they're presented as equals, but they don't want to be treated like an equal.
Well, my thing is, as a man, how come you don't want to treat them as an equal? Because see, for me, it's okay for a woman to starve because it's about her choice.
No, Roger, I agree, but most men are traditionalists and they don't view it like that at all. There's a reason why you can't make a hoe into a housewife. There's a reason why that phrase has been around since the beginning of time.
Okay, but I'm thinking it's just as important. If she got it, you don't need to get it.
Well, that's becoming more and more of a reality as more and more men wake up. That's why they don't like the red pill. Like, that's why they don't like that white girl with the red hair. That's why they don't like. That's why they ain't like Kevin Samuels. That's why, you know what I mean. That's why they don't like your show, because now that veil is, now men are waking up and men are saying, well, damn, I want to. If you equal, well, you can open the door for me. You can come pick me up.
Now I'm gonna say this: when it comes down to it, I'm never truly gonna see men and women as equals, because my thing is you do have to pay the cost to be the boss. So as a man, if we're the ones asking women out and we're the ones paying for dates and we're the ones putting more money into a relationship than a woman is, at the end of the day, the only intelligent thing for me to factor, well, I ain't gonna say the only intelligent thing, but it is intelligent me to factor a woman is supposed to try to convince me to keep her around. I see women all day long talking crazy to men as if a man is supposed to be trying to work and to keep her around. I'm supposed to keep you around to pay for you instead of you trying to keep me around to pay for you. Now, which one of those makes sense, y'all? Which one of those really makes sense? Should I work to keep her around so I can pay for her, or should she work to keep me around so I can pay for her? Which one of those make actual sense? I'm paying in both scenarios. Who's supposed to work to keep the other person around? To me, you always got to convince the person who's paying to stay around. Just like if you have a job, you have to convince your employers to keep you employed. If you go below the level of what they think is making them money, and you do that for too long, they let you go because it doesn't make sense to keep you employed anymore. You're not working to make the company better. You're working to be against the company. And shout out to Elder Blood. He says monogamy equals matriarchy, making the wife centrally the most important, valuable, desirable, and powerful, while polygamy equal patriarchy, making him all those things. Now, I'm gonna say this, Elder Blood. I don't necessarily agree with that because you could have monogamy but still run the show. Monogamy does not mean you're supposed to give up. You give a power to a woman. Now, I'm gonna say this: if a woman was willing to pay for me to the day I die, I could be her man. The issue is women don't want to do that. You go to work, I stay at home, I wash these dishes. Washing dishes ain't no big thing to me. I wash these clothes. Washing clothes ain't no big thing to me. I can mop the floor. That ain't no big thing to me. You give me 8 hours a day to do it, and technically a little bit longer because you go to work, let's say it's a half hour to get to the job, half hour for her to get back. I got 9 hours to take care of the house. Don't seem that hard to me. Now, I know a lot of people make it out to be hard, and I personally believe it was a lot harder before we have the inventions that we had today. But, I mean, if you gave me 9 hours, I could do 12 loads of laundry. It ain't no biggie. What's laundry? All I'm doing is putting it in the machine. I separate some clothes, put it in the machine, turn it on. It just don't seem that hard to me. Taking some clothes to a dry cleaner just don't seem that hard to me. Okay? Making dinner, man, I'm finna prepare this food, put it in the oven. Yeah, it don't seem that hard to me. Now, I can't tell you about everybody else, but the way we got these modern conveniences, this stuff just don't even seem that hard. I clean up a floor. I don't even have to mix no chemicals together. It's already pre-packaged chemicals for me to add water and just do what I need to do. It just don't seem that hard. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. He said, true. Memphis women stay doing side hustles. Wait, and you know what? Women can work just like we can work, but yet they don't want to pay to take care of me like we willing to take care of them. But somehow I'm supposed to be convinced that I'm supposed to try to work real hard to keep them around. I'm supposed to keep you around even though I'm going to end up paying for you. That don't make no sense to me, man. That's like saying, go get a job with my employer. You got to convince me to keep coming to work. But I ain't going to do nothing.
And you got to get down on one knee and beg them to let you take care of them for the rest of their life.
See, my thing is, I ain't against women, but I'm always going to be with stuff that makes sense. Okay? As a man, I do believe me talking to a woman is an opportunity for a woman. Is she an opportunity for me? No, I don't believe that at all. I don't. Because what have I seen in American society? What I have seen is if a man falls into a bad situation, his woman is usually going to go. Even some of the most religious women, they say, through the richness and poorness, the rich or poor, and health and sickness, and they don't buy into none of that stuff. That's what I see. Okay, they say they're gonna be there regardless of condition. When a man has a issue that is a prolonged issue, I see women leave. Okay, I see that amongst all kinds of women. The man he got a bad situation. He can't get rid of that bad situation in 6 months. They out the door. And that's and sometimes they leave, and it's just a perceived bad situation. It's not even really a bad situation, but if they perceive it as a bad situation, they go.
Roger.
Go ahead.
These wall brides and lawyers. I want to say hoes, but you see what I mean?
Well, I do think as men, we have to start looking at the picture on what it's actually showing us versus then what some woman is telling me how I'm supposed to interpret it. And I think that's what men do too much. And don't get me wrong, I understand women use manipulation to get what they want because they're not going to fight for it. And if you're not going to fight, it sounds like manipulation is a good choice to make if you're not going to really fight for anything. And I'm not saying women, have to do anything on either side. All I'm saying is when it come down to it, how am I supposed to see you as a big deal and you're not willing to do anything to make yourself a big deal to me? I'm a man, okay? I have to work because I got to provide. If I don't provide, you gone. It is what it is. Or let's say I'm in a situation where I'm not considered the provider, because there are black women who do go out their way to find some man who makes less than them. Okay, and how do they treat those men? They treat them less than children. So I either got to take abuse from you, or I got to be an actual provider. Now, if I'm an actual provider, why would I accept disrespect? We got men with crazy questions going on, and they don't know how to respond or react sometimes. And I'm saying I'm glad that there's a small number of men who are getting better. Okay. But I know they're not the majority. Just because we see it on the internet, they're still not the majority, because you still have it where, women are filing for most of the divorce. So a man has made a commitment that the woman didn't make. That's what that tells me. But people don't look at it that way. The man made a commitment. He said, good, bad, I'm here. She said, cool, good, or great, I'm here. Now, if it starts to slide a little bit, it's time for me to get up out of here.
You said cool, good, or great.
Yeah. She'll start off cool. If it gets good, she with it. If it gets great, hell yeah. But let you slide a little bit, now she up.
If it get bad.
Most women will not stick around for it to even get bad. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. If you lost your job, if you're not employed in the next 2 months, you probably already in the process of leaving. She probably already filed paperwork if you're actually married. If you're not married, she probably already having sex with the new dude, trying to see if she can get over into his crib. She ain't gonna wait for you to lose the house. Just think about it, y'all. When's the last time you even heard a story about how a woman left her man after he lost the house? Women don't wait for it to really get bad. They start making moves right when there's some wrinkles there. They start making their moves then.
Yep.
So that's why it's hard for me to see them as the important level that other people see them on, because I don't see why there's a reason for me to do that. As a man, you get a woman pregnant, she want to be with somebody else before that baby hit 2 years old.
Lord have mercy.
And I'm not encouraging, but I'm just gonna say I don't understand why men don't kill more women. I don't get that. Now people say, well, you shouldn't think that way. No, I'm just saying realistically, I don't understand why men don't kill somebody who had a baby with them and then decided that they don't want you to be a father to their own child. You know, and you know, women say y'all should fight all the time. Y'all should fight, but they don't understand that, you know, they be talking about court and the fact that the man gonna end up paying for everything pretty much if he do quote unquote fight in court. I don't understand why guys don't just off these women. I'm not saying men should. I'm just saying realistically speaking, I don't get why you just don't off these women, because if you gonna keep my child from me, to me that sounds like kidnapping, and I know what I would do to a kidnapper. And it wouldn't even I wouldn't be bothered by it at all. You know? Now shout out to D Name and Handler. He said extreme. Is it extreme to not allow somebody to kidnap your child? That's extreme? Because to me, to allow somebody to kidnap your child is extreme. It's one thing if somebody took your kid and you wasn't present, you didn't see it, you don't know what happened to your kid. But for your kid to be kidnapped for you and you know exactly where your kid is, to me, that sounds extreme.
Damn, you said it's kidnapping. Sheesh.
If you can't see your child when you want to see your child, what is that?
Bad babysitting? Nah, I'm fucking with you.
I'm just saying, right. Somebody take your child. You cannot see your child. You can't look at your child. You can't watch your child development. You can't watch your child grow up. You can't even sit in the park and watch your child play. Ain't that what kidnappers do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. So what if they take him? You just like, you know what? Forget that kid. I'll just make a new one.
I mean, if you decide to do that, that's on you. But I'm saying, if your child is taken from you, then your child is taken from you. And I'm gonna say, shout out to EA Jamos. I guess that's how you pronounce that. He says, Roger, your language, man. Come on. Not another challenge being lost, please. I think it must have been channel being lost.
Yeah,
calm down.
You
No, bro.
gotta chill out. You do gotta chill out.
I'm not saying anything exciting. I'm asking a simple question. If someone takes your child and you cannot see your child when you want to because they took them, you can't feed your child because they took them. You can't play with your child because they took them. Okay? If somebody did that to you, why would you not want to take that person out? Because they're keeping you away from their child. See, I'm not asking it as, this is not no extreme point. This is just basic reasoning of human beings. If someone takes your child, why would you want to let that person continue to live?
So what, Roger? You're just gonna confront the woman, physically beat her up, and then take the child, run away?
No. You do whatever you want to do. Me personally, because I care about people, any woman that will want to get pregnant from me will already know, if you try to take my child from me, I'm taking you up out of here. That's a known thing that I've literally told women. I'm not going to play with you in a relationship where you could end up pregnant and you don't already know that that's what's on the table. Because I wouldn't let nobody just take my kid. I'm not saying anything bad about somebody who had a child that was kidnapped, because there's people who went to a grocery store and then their kid got kidnapped, and it's a tragedy. It's a very tragic thing. You know, you take your eye off the ball for a hot second, but a kidnapper know what they're doing. So it ain't. So a lot of people got to understand you were going against a professional. They've been planning to do something like this for a long time, and it just happened to be your kid. Now, it's another thing for me to find out where the kidnapper live and then not go get my kid. You see what I'm saying? If I find out, if someone kidnapped my child and somehow I got the information of where my child was being kept, you think I'm not going to get my kid? To me, that's just a legitimate thing to do. And it's almost shameful to not do. Okay? And that's just real talk. Now, I got another guest coming up. I'm not sure who the other guest is, so we gonna take protocol. Okay, we gonna take protocol. Oh, my bad. We gonna take proper protocols though. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, made a mistake, y'all. Give me a hot second here. Give me a hot second. Boom. But we got another new guest. But like I said, I'm not familiar with this particular guest. So we gonna see what he got to say though. Boom. Okay. All right. Oh no, look like he gone. Unless it was something unrecognizable. Y'all, we got Compassion and Kaz. Were you coming up, brother, or you just getting in the back? Compassionate, you on stage, brother. Oh, he off stage. He off stage. Okay. So I don't know if that was him or somebody else, you know what I'm saying, messing around, but it is what it is. We gonna carry forward, y'all. We gonna carry forward. Okay. Now this is the thing. I don't see a woman as more important than me. Now I'm gonna say, from a religious perspective, every child belongs to their father. I've explained this before, y'all. Okay. When you start buying into Christian beliefs and you start understanding that there was 3 humans that had one father, and that father was God. Those 3 humans were Adam, Eve, and Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus could die for our sins because his only father was God. And Jesus was not born into sin, even though he was born of a woman. So, now, if you're born of a man who has sin, you can be born in sin. But if you're born of someone who's never sinned, you're not born in sin, even if a woman was born in sin. Because Mary, Jesus' mother, was born in sin. She come from her father. And then, next thing I know, Jesus was not born in sin, and he could die for everybody's sin. So what does that tell me? That means children belong to their fathers. It's no crazy thinking or anything like that. And then it makes sense because a life giver is a father. Life givers are not mothers. Mothers can incubate, your seed, but life is in sperm. It's not in the egg. That has been scientifically confirmed as well. So children belong to their fathers. Now, I'm not saying it's bad for a mother to share. She could, if you want to share in the raising of my child, cool. But the kid belonged to me. So I got to protect my kid at the end of the day. Now, if you see women as equals, what I'm saying ain't that big a deal. Because I wouldn't let a man take my kid, nor would I let a woman take my kid. If my child was kidnapped, I don't care what the kidnapper is. I'm going to go get my child. Somebody say, hey, man, your kid over there, 4047 West Imperial Avenue. Guess where I'm going? 4047 West Imperial Avenue. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care who got my kid. I'm doing whatever I need to do to get my kid back. It's all it is. Because they're just people to me. I'm not putting on this as a man or a woman. They're just people. And I'm a person, and I get to protect my child. Point blank, period. Now, Compassion Kai's got something to show us, y'all. That's what it was. So that was him coming in the back. He got something to show us. Let's see what he got. Go ahead, let it roll, my brother.
Majority of women, right, they lose their virginity voluntarily. So this is a question of just what? Trying to counter them not being able to be what? So pure. But now, if that happens to you, now
give those raped women a pass.
Me, I'm an innocent man. I'm not supposed to be the one to save you from whatever that happened to your life. For me, I'm going to pick what? A virgin. Simple as that. Why do you expect men to save women? Men to understand women's past. Men to understand women's stories. When these women say they don't want a broke guy, do they even care to understand that, okay, maybe this guy was born from poor parents. Maybe this guy came from a family with no connections whatsoever. Do they ask themselves, maybe this guy was an orphan? Do they ask themselves, maybe this guy is not able to catch a break? Do they ask themselves that they still want what? A rich man. They don't give a shit about your story. Why should men give a shit about women's stories?
I'm going to say that's interesting. That's an interesting clip. I've seen that clip before. I don't see where that doesn't make sense because at the end of the day, you got to go after what you want. Okay, but if you see other people that's equal to you, that means we all have this opportunity in this life. This about you to do what you can do with it. And see, once you accept that life is not fair, that means somebody get left out sometime. See, I accept life ain't fair. That's why I didn't make it as a point guard in the NBA, because that's what I was supposed to be doing. Let me tell it. Okay, I'm supposed to be the Chicago Bulls point guard. Let me tell it.
Yeah. So I see now. I see why them chicks is coming over to America trying to get with us. Because earlier I said women might be smarter than men. I gotta bring that back. I think women in America are smarter than men in America. But all across the rest of the world, I think it's opposite. Because what bro just said, we just starting to think like that in 2025 in America.
Well, to me, he just thinking normally. He's saying I don't really care about a woman's story. I know I've said the same thing. So to me, he's just being normal. I don't care about your story. And let's keep it real. You don't care about mine. So I know I'm operating in a world where you don't care about my story and I don't care about your story because somebody told me we was equals. So now I start accepting equality and I really don't believe men and women are equals, but it just depends on what scenario we talking about. So if I start accepting equality, there's a lot of things that's going to kind of not work out for women at the end of the day because I believe you're supposed to be able to take care of yourself. If you have a child, you're supposed to be able to take care of the child yourself. I hear women, they say stuff about having a child, but they want child support. If you are in the world of equality, why do you need child support? If you want to take the child on by yourself, shouldn't you pay for the child by yourself?
Damn
Now I
straight.
understand a man paying if y'all sharing the child, y'all raising the child in the same home. But whoever got the kid, they supposed to pay for that kid. And that's just real talk. Because you're the person enjoying the benefit of having the child. Okay. I'm not gonna say child don't come with no benefits. If you're a child's parent or you find yourself somehow attached to a child, like people attached to children they adopt, okay, you get something out of doing for that child. You get the reward of whatever you did for that child. Even though it may seem like a liability to everybody else, for you, it was rewarding for you to help that child. But if you want that benefit of being that great influence in that child's life, then I think you're supposed to pay for that benefit.
Mm.
Now, I'm not saying a man couldn't pay too. What I'm saying is child support shouldn't exist. What y'all do amongst y'all, each other amongst y'all child is kind of y'all business. And I don't think the rest of society need to be putting in on what y'all doing with your kid. It's y'all business. Keep it to yourself. That's all I'm saying. Keep it to yourself. But Great Black Reset then came up. So let me go ahead and let him get the mic. You got it, my brother.
What's happening, fellas? What's happening? I came up strictly to tell Compassionate Callus, thank you for playing that video, sir. Because every time I said what was in that video, I was getting crucified. Oh man, oh man, a virgin. Oh my God. Oh man, you must want a child. Oh my God, ain't no virgins around here. No, bro, we got to raise our standards. We got to raise our standards, bro. We got to raise our standards. I don't care how much fun you have with these promiscuous women. Don't have no children with them and don't marry them because they're useless. They're useless.
Well, I'm gonna say, just to kind of bring it back into what today's show is about. If you as a man say, "Hey, I'm putting my importance on someone because she is a virgin," why would you let anybody tell you not to do that? Yeah, okay, because again, y'all, the question, well, it's not really even a question. This is really an honest conversation about the importance of women. Why should women live in a world where they're guaranteed to be taken care of, but men are not? Well, men don't have that same guarantee. Because if you live in American society, we do all this stuff to make sure women are quote unquote in order, taken care of. They good. Okay. They got all these places that they can go to. They got these shelters. They don't have to be successful, but they want other people to pay for it too. And my thing is, why can't we just be equals for real? Meaning, if you have a child, that's between you and the dude you have a child with. Why does society need to be involved in what y'all do with child kids? Why do we need to care? And then there'll be people that say, well, if you don't care, Roger, they're gonna grow up and they're not gonna be good kids. Well, you know what? Once they cross the police, somebody gonna put a bullet in their head, and we ain't got to worry about them no more.
I just, I just think women, their importance is only when they're in their natural role, which is in support of a man. When they're fulfilling that role in support of a man as a leader, that's when they're important. When they're outside of that, they have none. They have none.
Now, now I'm gonna say this. I guess this is Dominic D. Dominic D say it's your child too. Why don't you want to put money towards your child? No, Dominic D, that's your question. Why don't you want to put money toward your child? But the question is, why do you want me to care about the money you put towards your child? I don't care about your kid. It's your kid, bro. Why do I need to be involved with what's going on between you, some woman, and your kid? Why do I need to be involved? And I'm saying me as
The
society.
state,
Why
the
do
state,
you care that why do we need to care anything about what's going on between you, some random woman, and some random kid that don't belong to us?
that's right.
You know? Now the thing is, a lot of men, and I'm assuming that's a man, but it could be a woman because Dominic, I guess, could go either way. But I would think that's a man's name. Now, this is the thing, bro. Why you want us to care? Okay, why you want us to care? Whatever y'all worked out, just work it out. Leave me alone. I don't care that your kid make it. I don't care if your kid don't make it. If we being realistic, I don't even care. You know, people die every day, and I understand that. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying I've accepted that as a reality. I really don't care if your child make it or not. Not for real, for real. Okay. You know, now if your child is black, I'm gonna root your child on to make it. But if your child don't make it, hey, it is what it is. You know?
But you know what? For me, Roger,
God
per,
damn, Roger.
for me personally, I believe the children are the future, and that's how. That's just Roger. Roger. Roger turned Roger turned the radio off every time that come on, boy. Boy, ice cold.
I
So
know.
Roger, Roger.
Ice
The
So
thing
Roger,
is,
cold.
basically what you're saying is fuck them kids.
they're not my children. I don't even understand why people want me to have this great importance on a child that I don't even know. It don't belong
Well,
to me. It don't belong to my family. I don't know if this child gonna ever be anything. I would
like
like the
why?
child to be something, but why do you want me to care about it?
Yeah, why are we spending our tax dollars being concerned with who's taking care of what children? Like, why are our tax dollars going toward that? Why is the government having oversight over that? You
Because
got two.
children are the future. That's why.
No, no, they're the future of those two people.
Damn, show them all the beauty they possess inside.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure you could do that a lot easier if you lived in the same house.
There you go.
You probably could show them all that beauty they got inside. But why do I need to care about what beauty they got inside? I don't even know that kid.
Hey, Roger. The thing is, there's supposed to be a deal that we made with women. We supposed to do our part and they supposed to do their part, and they do not want to do their part. That's why we have this confusion today. When they did their part, usually men and women were getting along and was doing okay. That's why the divorce rate is so high, is because the women do not want to do their deal. They're supposed to do their part, and their part is to support the man, and they do
What?
not want to do it.
There's a lot of women who say that that's not actually their part, and that's something that's quote unquote forced on them, and they believe it was something that was forced on women in the past. You know, that's what they believe. You know, I ain't saying it's true. I'm just saying that is what they believe. Now check this out. Dominic D said you're causing women to become quote unquote useless. Aren't you part of the problem? Look, Dominic D, you just saying something so completely stupid. I got to address the fact that it is stupid. How can I cause any woman to be useless? Give a straight answer to that, bro. What woman am I in her mind controlling her actions? How can I cause a woman to be useless? I mean, you know what, Dominic D? Maybe you don't know it. Maybe you don't know it. But this particular channel is for intelligent people. Okay.
That's
Now you saying
that's a woman.
no, it don't make no difference. Dominic D, you're saying something so completely stupid, and I ain't mad at you for being stupid, but I do want people to show that they don't have to be stupid. Tell me how a man causes a woman to be useless. in a free society. How does a man get that done? Give me any example you want
I know
about
how.
how
Let
a
me tell
man
you.
can make a woman useless.
Let me tell you.
I
Let me
know
tell you
how.
how it's done.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
got
It's
an
no,
always
answer.
no,
Jermaine's
don't,
fault.
no, no, no,
It's
no,
always
no,
Jermaine's
no,
fault.
no, no. Let Dominic get an answer to that question.
Oh
Yeah, let Dominic answer that question. Because that was just so stupid. I had to say something about it. Because see, this is the thing, y'all. Ain't no man in no woman's head. You don't control what women do. They do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you can't make them be you. I mean, you can watch a woman become useless, but you can't make her useless.
They can
Okay.
do what they can do whatever they want, and when they fail, it's your fault.
Now, Compassion Cat has highlighted this. I ain't even highlighted, but Dominic D said regarding your previous comments on promiscuous women being useless. What about it, bro? At the end of the day, a promiscuous woman is only promiscuous because she want to be promiscuous. So how is a man making some promiscuous women be you? You don't make sense. You don't make sense.
And for the record, promiscuous women are not useless. We need toys. You
Well,
know
first of all,
what I'm saying?
I didn't even I didn't
God.
even this is the thing. It was a lie because I never even addressed anything about women being promiscuous. I didn't even say squat about women being promiscuous. I didn't even bring it up. That's number one. Number two, if a woman decides she's gonna be promiscuous, what they got to do with a man? She made the decision. The man didn't make the decision. So, at some point, you got to put your thinking cap on. See, a lot of people, we go around in society and we want to seem like we smart and never actually think about anything. This is dumb stuff. And I'm not saying this to embarrass Dominic D. I'm saying it because it's stupid and we got to start acting like stupid stuff is stupid sometimes and stop letting it get off the hook all the time. This is stupid. How can a man make a woman be promiscuous? It's her decision. It's her body. It's her choice. A man can only deal with a woman who decided to be promiscuous. She got to make that as a decision. You can't make no woman What you gonna do? Lock her up in some attic and never let her leave? You don't have a bunch of different men come to the attic. They're gonna pay money and all the different men gonna have sex with, because you would have to do something like that to quote unquote make a woman be promiscuous. If you don't control where she go, if you don't control where she eat, if you don't control how healthy she is, how you gonna make her be promiscuous?
But I told you already, Roger. It's their choice until they'll fail, and it's gonna be Jermaine's fault now.
No, no, no.
It's Jermaine's fault
The,
because that
the
they
thing
failed.
is, it's never Jermaine's fault. Now I understand what you're saying, and my thing is that type of stuff got to stop. It's never Jermaine's fault what she did. Jermaine got to control Jermaine. He don't control her. And the only way to truly control a woman in America, you literally got to lock her up. If you can't lock her up sufficiently where she cannot get out the house, she can't call nobody, you got to somehow keep her healthy so she can do whatever this thing is that you making this woman do. It ain't happening.
Let me tell you
So
something, Roger. Women will destroy society at some point. And we're gonna look back and say these are the decisions that y'all made that led us here. You know what they're gonna say? But how come you let us though?
But you,
no, no, no. You know
for
what
the
though?
record, though, you wrong. Women have destroyed society. We are at that point right now where the society is destroyed due to women.
Well, I'm gonna say this. However you want to look at it, at the end of the day, when she say, "How come you let her?" Take it as a real question. You know what? You right. So now I'm gonna start doing X, Y, and Z. I ain't gonna let you do it no more. And that's why I'm advocating that we're gonna have to just start letting people truly starve to death. Not in theory. I'm talking about in reality. If you live in an American society where you can do pretty much what you want to do it. If she does something and it don't work out for her, let her suffer the consequences of it not working out. I'm not saying that to be mean or harsh to women. I'm saying let them get the same thing that happened to me. As a man, sometimes you come up with an invention, right? You pour a lot of money into this invention, and this invention don't never take off. And you know what you get? You get broke. That's it. Don't nobody come give you a pat on the back for doing a good job or making a great effort. Your thing never turned out to be anything, and you're just broke. And that's what we leave. Nobody comes in with $1 million and say, "Hey, you tried to get this great invention off the ground the last 10 years. We know it's been rough on you. Here go $1 million." Don't nobody do that. So if a woman has an idea and she can't make her idea turn into a good amount of money, just let her be broke. You know, treat her like you would treat a man, or your expectation on how a man should be treated for not making it. In America, you have to be poor because you didn't make it. Ain't that what reality is for men?
No.
What man don't have to be poor because he didn't make it?
Oh, if that's a real question, I can point out to all the multi-billionaires who are getting funded by the taxpayers. Most of them in a free competitive society, they would fail.
Bro, but they in a situation where they made it
That's the
already.
definition of they made it, bro.
yeah,
They made it, bro.
But how did they made it? They created companies who got subsidized by the federal government for decades. You're saying
yeah,
that
but
they
they
made
did
it?
make it
How the
though.
hell did they made it?
No.
Come on.
I'm not saying it's good or right that they made it off using the taxpayer dollars, but they did make it, bro. That's the reality of it. They
See,
did make it.
the, the emperor missed the theme of the video that compassionate share. We don't care how you got where you got. You just where you got. You just where you at.
So
It don't matter about hook or crook. If you made it, you made it.
look, there's plenty of people who made it unfairly. I mean, think about it. I'm a person where slavery is in my line. People use my people to make it. Now, if they didn't do a good enough job, but they still got something to show for it now, my thing is, I ain't got no sympathy for them people. You done enslaved my ancestors, and you broke. Man, I don't care nothing about your situation. Just be broke then, okay? But now, also, as a woman who supports equality, I'm not saying I'm against them, but at the end of the day, they just people to me, right? Because we supposed to look at everybody as equal. So man, woman, I'm just supposed to see people. But if the man don't make it and he people and I don't care, and the woman don't make it and she people that I don't care, I think I'm more feminist than people who claim they feminists. Because I'm really about the equality of neither one of them make it. And America is not supposed to be a guaranteed successful situation. America is supposed to be a place where everybody can have an equal chance to try. That's all America's supposed to be. You know, the American dream was supposed to be people can come try. You know, so when I hear stuff about, I mean, even with something like student loan forgiveness, I've been against student loan forgiveness because I don't care that you tried to make it through college. If that didn't work out for you, that's your problem to fix, not society's problem to fix. You know, so I'm very consistent on this. If you have a baby with somebody and they don't work out, I think that's your personal issue to resolve. Don't bring the state into it. Don't bring taxpayers into it. We don't need no regulatory board about how much money this guy's supposed to be paying to this woman per month. And even for the few women that got to pay child support, I don't think it's cool for the state to be saying how some woman got to pay this particular guy some amount of money. I don't care about your personal situation. Leave the state out personal stuff because people are equal. Women, if they're important, shouldn't they be treated like a man? Because they do have this perception about what men get that they don't get. So if they see men as the important people, well, treat them like a man seems like the right idea then. If that's your viewpoint. You know, I listen to these conversations. I was listening to a conversation amongst a bunch of women right before today's show got started. I listened to the stuff that they saying. So giving you the same treatment as a man should make it where you don't have to compare yourself to a man no more to say something is unfair. Because I'm gonna give you the same thing I gave this dude, nothing.
Yeah, they want to be equal and special at the same time. You know what I mean?
But see, I think that's well, this is why I say an honest conversation about the importance of women. And what I'm saying is they're not. They're not important. And we should treat them as they're not important. And I mean not important as the context is as no particular person is important. Everybody who's quote unquote considered important, they do something to make themselves significant. They become a celebrity. They become rich. They get educated enough where they have say they have a PhD. They do something. They get respect in their field. People work to make themselves important. And I'm saying beyond just normal human importance. Everyone who gets an extra level of importance, they work to get that. You know, what's the black scientist's name? Neil deGrasse. Tyson. Why am I mixing
Yeah.
up? Neil
Yeah.
Tyson deGrasse.
Tyson
What's his
DeGrasse.
name?
Yes.
Okay, that
Neil
brother.
Tyson DeGrasse.
Yeah, that brother. Okay, he an important brother,
The
but he
physicist.
worked himself in a way to become important. He's not important because people just look at him and say, "Yeah, that's the somebody." No. And shout out to Kojo who also put it in the chat. Neil deGrasse Tyson. He worked his way into importance. Okay, that's what he did. He worked his way into importance. When you talk about sports figures, they work themselves to be important. They get them jobs because they can do it better than average folks can. You know, Michael Jordan was important because he became the greatest basketball player ever. LeBron is important because he's been pursuing the greatest basketball player ever and was having some level of success at it. Okay, they work themselves into these important positions. So
You had to slide in this bullshit.
Yeah, man. You see
but
that?
no,
We was having
I'm
a
just
good
saying.
show.
That's an example of people working to become important. I mean, let's keep it real. LeBron's career ain't finished yet, so we won't really know where he end up until after he's actually done. But he is working himself in a capacity good enough to at least spark conversations about it, which I'm saying is an accomplishment on his part. That is an accomplishment, but he had to work to get there. You know, so when I look at a woman, do you want me to look at? Because they always talk about men. We look at them as sexual objects and stuff like that. Okay, well, what's my other viewpoint? Okay, what did she do then? What she did? I mean, real talk. No matter how we feel about Oprah, you can't say Oprah wasn't important. But she got a background that gives her some level of importance. Now, I'm saying as a woman, she's a failure. Because she never was able to get married, and she was never able to have children. So she's literally failed as a woman. Now, if I say, okay, well, so now you don't want me to look at her as a woman, you just want me to look at her as a person. Okay, she's still just as horrible of a person, but I could say, she did do this and she did do that. I can point some stuff out. Yeah, and that's just real talk. I can point out something she did. The average woman, I can't point out nothing they did. And that's not an insult. I say the same thing about the average man. The average man, you don't know what they did. That's just the way it goes. They may be important in a circle, but that's just their circle. It's just people have bigger circles than other people. But I'm gonna get the flow to Truth Teller since he done came up. Truth Teller, you got it, my brother.
I don't got much to say. I just came up here to relay a link to the Great Black Reset. They go to that Marcus Garvey link that I was talking to you about the other day. In any case,
all right,
you boys better not be bashing these hoes out here. All right, I'm gonna just say that before I drop off. They are important and they are vital to our ecosystem. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all have a good one.
You too, brother.
My man wanna litigate it. He want to relitigate his case that he lost the other day. I got
you. Now, yeah. Now I will say, first of all, we ain't gonna bash nobody up here today. We're not gonna bash anybody today. But I do want men to actually start thinking about this stuff from a realistic point of view. You got to ask yourself, why are women important? Because I'm not saying they have no importance at all, but they're no more important than any man. And then when you start saying, well, this person is important because they did this and because they did that. A lot of men don't address women that you haven't done anything. Okay? That's why people don't see you as important. You don't have the background to say you're important. You ain't do nothing. Well, what you mean I ain't do nothing? What did you do that impressed an abnormal number of people? What did you do that did that? Because if you ain't did nothing that did that, then you regular. Now, I don't know why people so upset about being regular.
I'm a woman.
I mean, a woman can be extra regular. That's a woman can be extra regular.
I bring a lot to the table, man. I bring a lot to the table.
And I'm gonna say most women have proven they don't bring anything to the table. That's why they say they the table. And it shows that women are so short-sighted in a lot of regular everyday situations. Because what I mean, let's keep it real, y'all. Why do y'all think some woman said, "I am the table," and then you heard a bunch of other women repeating the same dumb thing? Because you're talking about a relationship. When you say, "What do you bring to the table?" The table is the actual relationship. So what are you bringing into this table? And somebody was dumb enough to say, "I'm the table," and even dumber people kept repeating it as if it meant something important. And I'm just saying, you got to look at that sometime. It ain't even just the fact that people will say dumb stuff. You got a whole group of people that will repeat dumber stuff. Now, my question is, who's dumber? The person who said it the first time, or the person who had a chance to think about what was said and then said the same thing anyway? Somebody's slow in that scenario. That's all I'm saying. Once I realize something is dumb, I ain't gonna keep saying it. You know, that's the way it should work. You know, I ain't gonna keep saying it. You know, so society is asking us as men to look at women and see them as important. Okay, my question is how? Okay, how am I supposed to see them as important? Because last time I checked, a man had to do a great deal to think to be important per se, right? You know, he got to be if you're an employee, he got to be your boss. All right, cool. If you in sports, he got to be your coach. Okay, cool. We see him as certain levels of importance. If you walking down the street and you can't recognize this person, you don't see them as quote unquote important. You see them just as regular as you are. And why is that a bad thing? So now it's a woman. I'm not supposed to see her just as regular as I've seen all these other men. You know, and then when you come to a relationship thing, that's where somebody's supposed to be special to you. And then you got women saying, "I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z for you." Well, why are you attempting to be special to me and you tell me from Jump Street you ain't gonna do anything? Now, I do have an answer for women who tell me this stuff. My answer is, look, obviously you ain't good for nothing but sex. So if you want some dick, just say something. And, you know, we can do that. You know, because I'm down with not looking at you as important to me. I'll view you the same way you view me, and I'm 100% cool with that. We can have sex whenever you want, but understand you're not gonna be my woman. And when you start having feelings for me that you can't handle, we just gonna break up, and that's it. You know, and that means I ain't gonna even say break up. I'm gonna go my way and you gonna go your way because we're not gonna be together. Because you already told me I'm not important to you. So we really can't be together beyond that point. But what we can do is I'll just find somebody else to have sex with, and you can do what you need to do to be all right with yourself. Because I don't really care what you do at that point. You know, when you think about it. You know. But are men ready for that? Because if you ask men, honestly, are women important? I think we want them to be important, but they're just not doing anything to be important. You have very few people who go beyond the average person. You know, like I said, if you think about celebrities, when you think about just Americans, how many American celebrities do y'all really believe even exist? Now, I don't have no idea what a real number is. I would guesstimate, honestly, what, maybe 1,000? But I would say even if you said 10,000, because there's celebrities I'm just not aware of. and I accept that. You know, you could be a very big deal to some. Matter of fact, one of them was in the Super Bowl yesterday. It was somebody named Bad Bunny, who is supposed to be a big deal. I have no idea who that guy really is, but I kind of understood why now that I heard him saying so much Spanish. You know, I was like, okay, so he involved in music that I don't really listen to. So, but I heard the guy name, so I know he's supposed to be important. He's just not a big deal to me because he's a Spanish speaker and I'm not. It's nothing against him. I just don't happen to speak Spanish, you know? So he's just not important to me. That's all. You know, I'm not saying he ain't a cool person, whatever. I don't know. I'm not even interested in knowing because he came out, he performed. I heard a bunch of Spanish and stopped paying attention to him. And that's it. My friends asked me about him. You know who Bad Bunny is? I just said, no, it's just somebody whose name I've been hearing a lot. I heard he's supposed to be a big deal. I don't know what he do. I don't know none of his music. And that was it for me. I'm still in the same spot. Now I may be able to recognize him in the street because I saw what he looked like. But is he important? Not to me. But he's important to a bunch of other people. Just ain't important to me. You know? He obviously important to the Spanish-speaking crowd out there. You know? But not to me. Now, if I can do that to a man, why can't I do that to a woman? And she ain't even got no thousands and thousands of fans hollering her name.
Roger, nobody said that you couldn't. We're just look. The overall point of this conversation.
Women have to be important. Women have to be important. Society says they have to be. So no, you said nobody said you couldn't. No, they are saying that, bro. Every time a man is attacked because he don't see the importance of a woman just simply being a woman, that is society saying you have to think that way.
No, you're right. I agree with that. But I'm talking about a specific. Well, I'm talking about specific situations where you don't see that a particular a woman being important to you. That's fine, Roger.
No. I'm saying women in general aren't important. The same way men in general aren't important.
I would tend to agree with that. Yeah.
But go to a college and say women ain't important. See what happens.
Right. People would freak out.
Why?
Because
why can't you as a man go to a college, attend school, and sit in the class and people say, you know, women are important, and you be like, no, not really, they're not. They would attack you.
Yeah.
Because it has happened to men. I've seen the stories about how men were attacked because they said women ain't important. You know, unless you agree with what the professor is presenting about the women being important, it's a problem.
But Roger, the only thing wrong with your argument is that you're making the argument on the premise that men and women should be equal. When we all know, in all actuality.
No, I'm saying society pushes they should be equal. So if society gonna push they should be equal, then what's so wrong with treating them as an equal? Because I don't see men as important because we equals.
Yeah, but just because society pushes that agenda doesn't actually mean that men and women don't actually view themselves as equal to each other, though. When we all know that's not the case.
Women do view themselves as superior to men.
No, because they're doing, yeah. You're right. Unfortunately, you're right.
Yeah, so I don't know where you're going with that argument. I don't get.
No, my argument. My argument was that just because society pushes something doesn't actually mean that people like me and you don't actually believe that it's the case, though.
My thing, I just like to go with what's real because it's just harder to operate in a world where you can see reality and acknowledge reality. And reality say they're not that important. And it just is what it is. They're just not. They haven't done anything to show that they're important. They want people to give them this respect like they're important, but they haven't done anything. You know, as a scientist, you're not that important until you create this thing. You solve this disease, or maybe you create an invention, or you come up with a way that you know people could travel to the moon. You know, they gave them women credit. Or that they did that movie Numbers. What was that about? Women getting together, doing some math, so they could actually get a moon landing done. Okay, so they were viewed as important enough that they made a movie about these people. They did something. Okay, but most people ain't did nothing when it comes to it from a societal context about when you weigh what you did in comparison to what everybody else did. The people that shine is usually the people at the very top. But there's a lot of women that they would try to allow to shine, and she hasn't done anything. And then if you don't accept that she's not, if you don't accept that she's important, they act like you're doing something wrong. And I'd be like, well, okay, well, what's the big deal? You know, what's the big deal about her? You know, they don't even want you to ask those questions. You know, which is crazy to me. But no placeholder then came up, so let me let him get the mic. No placeholder, you got it, my brother.
What's going on, Roger? What's going on, you guys on the panel? My man, GVR. Oh, you got Ron L up here too? What's going on, Ronnie? And we got the Emperor and Brad.
What's happening, brother?
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, Roger, in the sense of like, and I'm actually going to make a more empirical argument. Is as a person who actually has a degree in science and also was taught religion, I'm going to merge the both of them in a way where I can explain my point. Where, from my perspective, when the Bible mentioned about putting Adam to sleep, removing a rib, using that rib to basically create Eve, and that was intended to be, I'm saying, is helpmate, and that I'm saying so. From the point of view of science, both men have X and Y chromosome. Women have two X chromosomes. So if you have a bunch of women, you cannot make a man. Well, if you have two men, you can make a woman. So basically, like me, I can have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome, and then another man can have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome, and we can actually take those two X chromosomes and merge them together and completely create a new woman, which is basically my understanding of what Father God did. You know what I'm saying? So because of the way that I approach it from that perspective, I'm saying the women are intended to be like a hump on a camel. You know what I'm saying? You see, the camel has a hump where it carries additional water. So that way, if it has to basically go on certain long treks, the hump is where it keeps a reservoir for water. So aside from carrying our children, which is one of their major importance, I'm saying they really don't really have value beyond that. And in the world of artificial insemination and the world of basically being able to fuse eggs and cells without the need for women and having artificial womb, I'm saying, and then also having AI that can actually teach your children, they really are obsolete. But I'll land there. Thank you.
Okay. And we got Inspired Truth coming up. So let me go ahead and give him the mic. Inspired, you got it, brother.
All right, I'm not on like my best microphone, but hopefully y'all can hear me, huh?
Nah, you sound fine.
All right. So I don't know, I might have to kind of like drop this smoke bomb and bounce, but like there's a big difference between important and special. Like important is something that's critical to whatever your mission is or whatever your purpose is or whatever it is that you're doing. Special is where maybe you've gotten some additional accolades or whatever. So like when we were talking about like the science, it's like there's sciences that are terribly important because they went and they did it the 1,000 ways that didn't work. And if we don't go through the 1,000 ways that didn't work, then we never get to that one way where something does work. We even have these things called serendipity, like serendipitous experiments or serendipitous inventions. Like we'll have one thing that we're trying to do and then we'll fail at that, but then by failing at that, we'll actually end up creating another thing in its place that also serves a good significant purpose. Like penicillin wasn't something we actually intended to. Same thing for Viagra and all this other stuff. Like there's a difference between important and special. That's basically what I was trying to get across. Hopefully that came through.
Okay. I'm gonna read this. Look like it's something important in it. Shout out to Q Control. He said student loan forgiveness really had to do with the fact that the banks mismanaged and I guess misappropriated is probably what he meant to say. Misappropriated the interest and payouts. Military vets / teachers still owe and the loans were to be forgiven. Now, I'm gonna say this: why would anybody have a loan forgiveness? If you borrow the money, just pay it back. What's the big deal of pay? You went through the trouble of borrowing. Why would I don't get that. Especially from an American society standpoint. If you signed a contract to pay money back, why would you not pay it back? I've
So,
never
Roger, I
been
want to jump.
against anybody getting out of a loan. I'm gonna say that I've never been with anybody getting out of a loan. You take a loan, you pay the loan back. It just is what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, so quickly, Rogers, the student loan forgiveness, which is basically what Mr. Biden presented, that's like something different than what he was mentioning about being a veteran or being a teacher. When you forgive the loans of those people, you're essentially rewarding service. So you know what I'm saying. So you're not necessarily doing it out of thin air. They're like a teacher would work at $40,000 a year, $35,000, $38,000 a year. So you're like, okay, you're doing society's good work. So if you do that for 10 years, we'll forgive your loans. You get what I'm saying? Or same thing like that. So it's like that's very different than what Mr. Biden wanted. Mr. Biden was just wanted to outright basically like forgive a bunch of student loan. And like we're like, no, that makes no sense.
Well,
But yeah, I just want to put that 2 cents in.
well, I'm
I'll
gonna
give a
say
little bit of
if
pushback on
you
that.
borrow from the U.S. government and the U.S. government say because you are now a veteran, don't worry about it. See, I can understand that because that's between those two entities. Or if the U.S. government is going to pay off the loans for the person who's supposed to pay off any particular bank because they served in the military. See, now that's just a benefit of your service. But if you just say in a country that was very specific about contracts meaning something, if you tell somebody they don't have to keep up with the end of a contract, which is literally part of why the government is in existence, you messing around. That's some BS. If you don't want to pay back the loan, just don't take the loan.
I have a theory about that though. Like, so what I would say that this kind of goes back to is like the social designers and credential inflation. Like they went and made all these different promises about, oh, what college is going to do for you, and hey, this is your way into the middle class, and oh, you'll go ahead and get these loans, and you'll be able to pay them back with this great job that you're going to get. Then when you actually got out, you didn't get that great job, or it took you like 10 years, or 15 years, or 20 years to actually get to that point. And now you have no savings, no retirement, nothing like that. You basically have like a social design that failed. This is like a attempt, a sad ass attempt at trying to correct that.
Well, I say I don't see it as trying to correct it because at the end of the day, we all have to make a gamble about what we're going to pursue in life. Some of us gonna win, some of us gonna lose. That's the whole thing about America. It's supposed to allow you to take your opportunity to win. It doesn't guarantee you're gonna win. So to
Yeah, but
go
this
to
is doing
college
on a mass scale
with,
though,
with
like not a small
well, I'm
scale.
saying to go to college with the expectation that I have to win is stupid. Somebody got to lose at everything. Why you got to be the winner?
Yeah, but we're not talking about one or two. We're talking about like mass generation though.
All of them had an opportunity to take a loan or not take a loan based on what they thought about where society was going. And at the end of the day, Americans are allowed to go into business for themselves to fix their problem. You can go get second jobs. You can create your own situation. So at the end of the day, it's on you.
That did
Why are
happen.
you
That's
in a
why we have
situation
the
that you're put like this? Why are you in a situation that you're too lazy to be?
So we did have people go and get like second jobs and all that. That's what the hustle economy is. That's why I have all these people doing Uber Eats and all that other stuff, DoorDash and everything else. Like we actually have a generation of millennials that actually they are the hustle culture generation. That's how we got this stuff into the lexicon.
No, but do you think the people who went and got a college loan and then the job situation didn't work out, you think they're actually getting one of these hustle economy jobs and taking that money and sending it
Yes,
to
I
the
see
people
it.
they owe?
Yes, I see it. I've seen it. I've
Okay,
seen it like
okay.
back in
Well,
like
I'm saying
what
no.
20.
Somebody did it. I know that somebody did it. I'm saying, do you think that's happening in mass though?
Yes, at least as far as what I've seen from what I can
Okay,
say
so
that I've
then
seen.
problem solved. If they got a second job of any kind and they're taking that second job to pay off the stuff they owe, problem solved. Why should we care beyond that point? They took the loan out.
In individual sense, no. In a large macro sense, yes. Because like if you ended up going and doing this whole big push as a society, and then you decide to go and correct the big push that you did in society, then that's like a correction.
Well, in order for people to know what move they should make, don't they got to look at stuff that other people did so they can get a gauge on what happened? So now people are going to come up and saying, well, you know, getting a loan to go to school probably ain't the best move for me to make. And then they can choose something different.
Yeah, I think people are doing that. I think the people have learned some lessons from what previous generations had to deal with. Yeah.
I mean, but that's what we all had to do. We all had to work off the knowledge we was able to get by people who came before us. We all got to do that to a certain extent. So at the end of the day, I ain't got no sympathy for them people, just like I ain't got no sympathy for somebody just for being a woman. At the end of the day, you tried what you tried. If it worked out for you, congratulations. If it didn't, and you got to get 2 jobs, get 2 jobs. That's my thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, Roger, because one of the reasons why we're having this problem is because reality is not reaching the people that are making the decisions. And the reason why I say that is because independent of the women, I have a young son, and I just basically had to go to a parent conference, and I come to the conclusion that my son is having a problem where reality, the decisions he's making, the ramification of that is not meeting him. So for that reason, he's not understanding it. So I'm sending him to Jamaica for several months so you can understand what reality is. When I'm saying when the power goes off, when you don't expect you don't have water for 3-4 days. You got to go get your own food. You know and your cousins will beat your ass if you basically get out of line. You know so I'm saying, so that's the way I'm trying to tell you.
You're giving him a million dose.
You're gonna figure it out soon enough. So, same thing with the women; they're gonna figure it out soon enough.
Yes, you got it good. You just don't realize you got it good. So let me help you with that realization. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you, and shout out to Elder Blood. He said the black woman destroyed the first perfect man in the Garden of Eden. Destroying black men in America is nothing. Also, black women will trust black men with their but not their money. Now I'm gonna say this, Elder Blood. I'm gonna say this. I get your point, but I'm gonna disagree with that first part about they destroyed the first perfect man. Adam, for some reason, didn't just leave Eve to die, and that was Adam's decision. And honestly, you know, not that I want something bad to happen to Eve. In reality, I just think Adam should have just stuck with his guns. That's all. But I do think it's a good lesson for men to understand is when you remove your charge so you can do what this woman wants you to do, you know, there's a price to be paid for that.
And it did say in the Bible also, Roger, that the men will have an affinity towards the women that basically they can't, you said you can't have no control over that. That was one of the punishment of basically, you know what I'm saying? I was imparted after becoming aware of things that we're not supposed to be aware of. We're tethered to each other.
Well, I'm going to say that I think a lot of men are probably looking at women somewhat similar. I ain't going to say the same thing, but similar to how Adam viewed Eve. Because if she important just because she a woman, I mean, ain't you putting too much on it? You know? Because Adam, he didn't do what he was supposed to do because his woman did something that she wasn't supposed to do. And Adam could have just left her out there bogus. That's what Adam could have did. He could have not ate from that tree and just said, hey, God, she ate from that tree. He could have just told, you know? And do you have a solution? Because I'm not eating from that tree, but she did. Okay. I told her not to. You know, Adam possibly could have been totally fine had he done that. But no, he said, you know, and this is my theory. Whatever you do to her, you're going to have to do it to me because I'm going to eat from this tree too. So I think he was on some Captain Safe at that particular moment. It is what it is. You know, I mean, you could take a lot of different lessons from that story, but to me, I'm going to say Adam messed up when he let his leadership position go so he can fit into what that woman wanted him to be. Because at the end of the day, the woman wanted him to be something. The snake said, hey, if you take this, you could be like a god and know the difference between good and evil. And then she wanted to know that difference. And she ate that, and she wanted Adam to know that difference. So Adam, trying to be what she wanted him to be, cost himself a whole lot. That's my interpretation. At least one of them. There's a lot of things you can interpret from that. But my thing is, I ain't doing all that. Women can do what they want to do. I'm not against women working. I am not against women building a career. But when it comes to me helping them, I don't understand why I'm supposed to, not even from a tax perspective, because if you did what you did, you should enjoy what you did, and whatever it cost you, you got to pay that cost. Because I'm not looking for people to pay my bills, so I'm not looking to pay somebody else's bills.
So Roger, you saying we can't save Shakari from speeding?
Shakari she was in a nice car. I don't even see the problem.
She was.
I think that was a Porsche. If I think about what I seen there, I think that was a Porsche. What? How are you driving a Porsche and you think I'm supposed to believe you can't pay off some $500 to get out? That should be nothing. I think she got $1 million contracts and all that type of stuff. I mean,
wait, wasn't it an Aston Martin?
Huh?
Wasn't it an Aston Martin?
I don't know. I ain't really look at it, but I know it's expensive. It ain't something regular. We know it ain't something regular. So I was thinking Porsche, just trying to go off memory. But I mean, it was dude say it's gonna be $500 to get you out. So what's getting out to her? Okay, a speeding ticket. How much that ticket gonna cost you? What, $200 maybe? She might have spent $700. Don't you got like a multi-million-dollar deal with Nike? Like, that's nothing.
Well, they were going to send her to jail. She did.
She important. She important, Roger. She important.
But she accomplished that through running, though. You see what I'm saying? So my thing, I'm not mad at her. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't mad at the cop for doing his job either. He didn't quote unquote pick on her or do anything. She pulled in front, and you heard what he said. She was signaling to people to get out her way. She's trying to get to what she got to get to. And sometimes when you're an important person, you do got to get places. But if you do the same thing I did, I expect you to get the same treatment I got. Because what was going to happen to me if that had been me behind the wheel? I'm sure he would have took me to jail too. I can say at least in this case, that white cop did what he was supposed to do.
I don't know. I think we are reaching equality. I think she done been to jail just about as much as Cat Williams.
Nah, Cat got a beat. She may be going for it, but Cat got a beat right now. But I think that went down the way it's supposed to go down. Because when you're doing over 100 miles, and I think he said it was like a 65. If I remember right, it was like a 65 mile an hour zone. So if you're doing 103, you're almost 40 miles over. What he's supposed to do as a cop. You done got in front of him and took off. What he's supposed to do? It ain't like he's seen it in his peripheral. Now she came right in front of dude and took off. I mean, you got to do what you got to do at some point. So I was 100% cool with that. And I didn't even really want to cover it at first because to me it was like it was no story. She got a speeding ticket, but at the end of the day, I guess it was an issue because Shakari getting a speeding ticket like a man would get a speeding ticket, or Shakari going to jail like a man would go to jail, was touching people. And I'm honestly, when I very first heard about that, I was like, man, it's a speeding ticket. What's the big deal? But it obviously bothered somebody. I was like, man, I got to cover this. That's a ticket, man. What's supposed to happen? She not supposed to go to jail. She was almost 40 miles over the limit. What's supposed to happen to her? But this is how we, as men, we look at women and say that they're important in a way they shouldn't be, and women are doing it too. Because why was that even a story? Real talk. She got a speeding ticket. If you speed and you get caught, you get a ticket, you pay your ticket, and you go on about your way. If you speed too much, they tow your vehicles and they make you go to jail. That's what they do. It's happening to, you know what I'm saying? It happened to all kinds of folks. But for some reason, I guess it wasn't supposed to happen to her. That says people feel a way about her from a societal standpoint. Because I can understand your mama trying to get you off. I can understand your daddy trying to get you off. But a stranger that just happens to know who you are because you happen to be famous. Why is this bad? Why is this offensive? What happened to her was what was supposed to happen to her. Dude didn't seem to care nothing special about her in any kind of real way. I don't even think he knew who she was. That was my impression. He don't even know who she is. So he just did what he would do to anybody else who was doing it. You know, and I gotta give him some level of respect because he came to the window talking about you going to jail. He didn't even wait. He was just like, ain't no, you going to jail today. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what you gotta do.
You right, Roger. You right,
I,
Roger.
I
He
don't
was
know
saying
what you
it in the
gotta
car.
show. You know,
He was saying it in the car, Roger.
Boy,
Before he got out
wow.
of the car, he's like, whoever that is, they going to jail today.
yeah. He didn't seem to put no importance on who it was. He was just like, yeah, Joe, whoever you is, you going to jail. You know.
And didn't Kristen Coleman get like stiffer charges than she got though? Like for intervening?
No, no.
Kristen Coleman. He did?
Somebody at the airport. They didn't charge him with
No,
nothing.
no, no, not at the airport. No, we're talking about the new thing with the whole speeding thing. Like he tried to pull off and see what was going on when she got
There
pulled
was
over.
some people following her, but I don't remember anything about them getting in trouble following. And unless they started trying to interfere with what was going on, now if you start trying to interfere too much or too aggressively, yeah, you might get
Well,
something. But
I think he did. He probably did get more severe charges than her because I mean, uh, unless she resisted arrest or something like that. I mean, she was arrested for going over the speed limit. But if they were arguing that he was somehow interfering, well, that's a more severe charge than her merely being arrested for speed.
So
So
they
it was
still dating.
very foolish. Is well, obviously they're still together because man's showing up playing save 'em for her. You know, after she gets caught drag racing on the expressway. So, you know, obviously, you know, 'cause, you know, this guy. Let me tell you all who this guy is. This is the fifth or sixth fastest human being who's ever lived. Like for real. This ain't just some dude, man. You know, this whole Shikari thing has kind of fucked him up, or he's allowed to fuck him up. His own um, legacy as an athlete. This guy's one of the fastest human beings who've ever lived. Period. Like no exception to it. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel badly that he's allowing this renegade female to drag him down this way.
Yeah, I mean, he is like I say, he's the sixth fastest man in the world. He has Olympic medals, and he comes from a family. Both his parents are college educated and educators. So he comes from an upper class thing, and he's messing with
Yeah.
this girl who's not from a bad, she got a bad situation, and she's bringing him down. He came out there to help her because she called, and he came out there to help her. The cops told him to get back in his car. He kind of didn't want to go back in his car quick enough. He drew something out. They found something that seemed to be some kind of residue, and then they said he was resisting arrest. So he's in trouble. He's in more
now,
trouble than her.
now I'm gonna say if it went down like that, that's him looking at a woman like she's supposed to be important and more important than himself. And now he got a situation behind the fact that he believes she's more important than him. Because at the end of the day, like I said, the cop was kind of nonchalant and he was just, whoever this is, they going to jail. And that's just it. He said it right from Jump Street. You know, I see a lot of bad cop videos. I see them almost daily. A lot of stuff I never bring to the program because I just see so much of it. But I'm saying in that situation, he seemed to be on the up and up with basically everything. I never got the any vibe from this dude that he was giving her a break in any way. I really don't believe he even knew who she was. He just saw somebody speeding like crazy, which he kind of said before he even pulled her over. and whoever that was, he was just taken to jail for doing it in front of. And that's all it was. Now
And
all
there
he
was a
got to do is let her go.
Yeah.
Roger. There was a
Now,
third person that came after another track
now,
star came
now to be
after
fair,
him, and she got sent to and she got a ticket
now to be
because
fair,
they told her to go away.
now to be
But
fair,
go ahead, Black
depending on
Guru.
who you are, uh, well, to be fair, depending on who you are, you get to be, I mean, there were lots of legendary reports of Michael Jordan doing 120 94 North, back in the day. So
They
that
probably
was
knew who Mike was.
depending on who you are, that was like it was a very, commonly reported thing, to get sort of buzzed by MJ, on the Eden's Expressway back in the 90s. So yeah, depending on who you are.
Well,
MJ is
well,
just way more important.
well, my thing is he crafted out a
Yeah.
level of importance where obviously the person pulling him over, stopping him, kind of knew who he was, and he can hit him with the, "Hey man, I'm trying to get to the game so I can win these championships for us." That's gonna go over different than some man who don't recognize you, or don't recognize who you are. And I didn't get the impression that he recognized her. That's not what I got from. He didn't seem to know who she
Gotcha.
was, and he said, "Whoever that is, they going to jail." And the
I
fact that it
agree.
was a woman didn't impress him.
And I remember even Tyreek Hill was trying to use that same argument you just mentioned, Roger. He was late for his game in Miami, and he tried to use that as an excuse. And from what I saw, he was on the side of the road with handcuffs on. So and that man is literally the fastest man in all of football. So so I don't see the reason why Chicago shouldn't go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because they was ready to send Tyreek Hill to jail for the same thing.
And I'm just saying, I could appreciate the fact that it seemed like he was just gonna take whoever was in that car to jail, because at least that tell me it wasn't no racial bias. He didn't do no gender bias. It was just a car took off in front of me, and now they going to jail. But when you believe that female are more important, you do certain things that it's gonna manifest in how you live your life, that you think she's more important because she's a female. And that's why I said I wanted to have an honest conversation about the importance of female. Because if we get honest, they're just people. They have no importance. You have to take on
Well,
stuff that you shouldn't even have to take on to be important.
it's more important. That's an interesting um, point, because there is an argument that from a species standpoint, there is an argument that an individual female is more important than an individual male. From a species standpoint, from a survival of the species standpoint, because of the mechanism of reproduction. The women are the determinant of the level of reproduction, not the male, because the male can so any individual or most individual males can so prolifically reproduce that any one male is not necessarily that important for the survival of the species versus that of a female, where there's where she's going to determine whether and or the frequency of the production of more human beings. So there is an argument for an individual female being more important than the individual male in certain aspects, even though generally your male is going to be more capable in most aspects of the outside world than your female. If you ask me who's more capable or more valuable in certain tangible aspects, you can make the argument for a male. But if you say from a survival of the species, if you wipe out 80% of the men, you could continue that species. If you wipe out 80% of the females, you're not going to likely be able to continue that species. That's
I
just
think that the
biological.
I think that there's there's something to that, but then there's also that counterbalance there that if you didn't have the men, the wolves would have eaten them all. They would have died off a long time ago. Like you still need some critical mass of men to keep the women alive. On top of that, um, I kind of like look at something. Dang, I forgot that second part to this. There's a second part to this that sums it up that makes it make even more sense too.
All right, well, while you try to think of
I'll
that
think about
second
it.
part, I'm gonna say shout out to Jay Bones. I appreciate the super sticker, my brother. Appreciate the super sticker. Real talk. And yeah, I mean, you do make some level of something that has to be recognized.
Oh, now I got it.
You can impregnate the
What?
women, but unless you can protect the impregnated women, they don't matter.
And also
I
choice too. Like there's a difference between the ability to be to actually go and project the species forward and all that versus just kind of like choosing self-indulgence, and that's kind of what we're seeing. Like they have the potential, but then they make the choice to do the more self-indulgent thing a lot of the time. That's
well,
what it is.
I think that they probably need protection even from themselves and outside threats. But the cost of that protection should be femininity.
Well, I'm gonna say if I'm supposed to view them as equal, then I don't need to protect them. I'm just keeping it real. Have y'all worked with people before? And you got a bunch of guys, right? Some of us doing a good job, some of us doing a okay job, some of us doing a bad job. But then they got to start making cuts. And they okay, well, who should we keep and who should we get rid of? The guys that wasn't doing so good, people quick to be like, well, we don't really need Frank because Frank only filling 3 boxes a day anyway. The rest of us, we averaging 17. Frank only doing 3. We don't really need Frank. We can get, but we basically getting by without him anyway. See, people start getting real practical when there's something to lose. So at the end of the day, if I'm looking at a woman as a human instead of as a woman, which a lot of them push, you know, how important are you if you're not truly outperforming a mass amount of the people that's doing whatever it is that we doing? If you got a woman averaging 7
Well,
boxes,
I would say if
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
if you are not, if you're a female and you're not reproducing at or above replacement level, then you're not valuable at all. You're
Exactly.
almost
Correct.
exclusively cost and no benefit. You
Correct.
really, if a woman who I mean, and I'm not making any argument because, I mean, I don't want to hurt any feelings for anybody, somebody who, whatever reason, some woman missed her window to reproduce, or maybe she had some issues uh, with respect to being able to reproduce. I'm not saying a woman cannot be a valuable contributor to society uh, who is childless, but I'm saying once you move to masses of women who are not reproductively replacing, then okay, so what's all this additional cost and burden to the society of maintaining your comfort level in lieu of you having children? Is one thing, or not having children, is one thing to make that, to bear that expense and take that extra risk for you to contribute new human beings in the community, new potential, and in particular new males, frankly, to the system, who are going to bear the bigger cost and the bigger consequence generally to maintaining and building that society. If you're doing that, then in my view, you're worth the extra cost associated with your being female. But if I'm a
But look,
bearing this extra cost for the society, and you're not creating these future contributors to that society, then you're an undue burden to that society. That well, I mean, it's some sobering questions about. things at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the survival of the species be primary? And if the survival of the species is primary, then reproductive value of the species is primary. And I'm not as sensitive as the honorable Dr. Uru over here. If you're not reproducing, whether it's a biological issue or not, you're useless. You can't even overproduce not being able to reproduce. It don't matter
Here's the
what you
thing.
do in society at that point.
I will actually
Yeah,
concur
here's the
with
thing that people
Black
probably
Reset on
don't
this
tie
one.
together is that you have a mass of you have a when you have a large generation, a large population of people that have aged to a certain point to where they can't be necessarily in the trenches like that, that puts a lot of pressure on the smaller generation that still has to support the one above it. Like so you end up having extra strain, and if it goes too far, then you can have societal collapse.
Or you
Yep.
could just let people who wasn't wise
And
enough to make it die. You could do that too. You
and
know.
the and maybe this is black pill. I don't know. But it's even worse for the females because they not only tend to be more expensive, but they live longer.
No, they don't.
So they're
Yep.
expensive.
Yes, they do.
No, your typical female lives longer than your typical male.
They
So
Nah,
they
sure do.
live
nah,
longer and they're more expensive.
Now,
I,
now
I know.
I'm gonna say, I mean, real quick, in order to stop society from collapsing on itself, I think you just gotta accept that some of these people who weren't quote unquote wise enough to put themselves in better positions just gonna have to die a little earlier than maybe they would have had to, and we just gonna have to be cool with that, you know.
Let me say this very quick. Like I always say, we need to stop funding retirement for women who never had children. We have to restructure the retirement system and make it an obligation to ask how many children did you have. If you didn't have at least two, you don't get state
Nah, we
funded
talking
retirement.
three, bro.
Yeah,
Nah, we need three.
I don't think that's necessary. The thing is, if you make things equal, that means people have to make their personal choices and use their personal wisdom to make sure they are okay in their old age. And the people who didn't make sure that they were okay in their old age, we got to just let them suffer the consequences of their personal decisions. But I want to read this real quick, and then I want to get usual business in here. Shout out to Turkish Tyrone. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, my brother. He said, Roger and brothers, Shikari and boyfriend equals master and simp. If I suffer, you suffer. Her boyfriend had to make up for not sacrificing him during the airport incident. Now, I'm gonna say this: he may have personally felt bad because he didn't quote unquote suffer in that airport incident, and maybe he wanted to make sure that in this particular case, she can't come at him about leaving her hanging. Maybe that's what he was attempting to do. Me personally, I would have just let her went to jail by herself because I just don't understand why I got to go to jail with you. It don't help me. You were speeding, you got caught. He taking you to jail. I'm 100% fine with that. We world-class athletes. We got $500 to get you out. Whatever that ticket was gonna be, I'm assuming what, $200 ticket or something? $700, the whole thing go away. It's not that big a deal. We're world-class athletes. We're not even regular people. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to think about no $700 like the average person got to think. The average person ain't got $700 in the bank to just go pay this off or go get their car back. A lot of folks, whatever car they had, which wasn't gonna be as nice as hers, if their car get towed, they in a real situation and they on the phone calling people, talking about can you help? You know what I'm saying? So I was proud that this particular police officer represented police well and just wanted to take her to jail. And I don't know what dude did, but at the end of the day, there was no reason to do anything because his mind was already decided before she even got out what she was trying to say good. You know, he said right away and immediately, look, no matter how you play this, you are going to jail. I can appreciate that. You know, and I'm not gonna say he pulled over because he was racist. It was she literally did it in front of him. You know, so if I'm a police officer, what I'm supposed to do? She done did it right in front of me. I got to do something now. You know, I'm on camera with you doing this in front of me. You kind of forced my hand. You know, but usual business. Go ahead for a real open statement, my brother.
Hello, how you doing to Roger and to the panel? I knew this. Actually, I had a conversation about this just yesterday with a group of ladies from the Caribbean, and they were saying, what is it? How Trevor Noah was doing pretty good with his little girlfriend from the Caribbean. I forgot. I don't know if you know his name. The lady in the Caribbean, the girl name. What was he? I think she's like the third fastest chick in the world. I can't remember her name for the life of me right now. But I mean, he doing pretty good. He living his little life. You know, out there in the Caribbean, he got himself a little, was it Aki and Saltfish? You know, a little what is it? A carry goat, and he living his life. And I'm happy for him, bro. So you know, he FBA female free, and he where I want to be. So you know, that's all I'm gonna leave it at right now, though. Thanks.
That's one way to put it. That's one way to put it.
The Prince of Uganda has spoken.
That's right.
I did one question I wanted to ask.
Before you ask, let me say shout out to Afro Merch. He said I was speeding and was happy. All I had to do was pay $120. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know what her ticket would be, and you know, it all depends on where you are. I'm pretty sure that ticket didn't cost no more than $200. She got $500 to get out of jail because he said that was the bond. Now the car getting towed, I'm gonna expect a tow to be no more than if you go and get your car right away, which I'm pretty sure she could afford to do. You're probably gonna spend maybe $300 for your tow. She might have spent the G, but she got a multi-million-dollar contract with Nike. What's a G to her? You know. So if dude wouldn't have been, she's so important, I got to step in. He probably wouldn't have went to jail at all. Sometimes you got to just ask the cop, excuse me, sir, what's wrong? And if he say, well, I clocked her doing over 100 miles an hour, sometimes you got to just go back to your car and be like, oh, that's too bad. What we got to do to get out? And just call it a day. But stop trying to act like you can help a situation, especially when somebody's doing over 40. And because I remember him saying 65. Somebody in the chat said they remember 55. She way over the limit. She was doing 103. If you're doing 103, the best I can say is what I need to do to get him out. That's all I'm going to say at that point. I understand that's serious speeding. It ain't 20 miles an hour. If y'all don't know, it's serious. If you're driving a commercial vehicle, 12 miles an hour is considered serious. So if
that's a super speeder.
So if the limit was 65 and they clocked you at 103, you're 38 miles over. If it was 55, you are 48 miles over. Ain't no talking at that point, y'all. Once you get past the 20, it's different. If y'all don't know that, once you get past 20 miles an hour, it's different. So just take your L and roll with it. But go ahead, what you was gonna ask, though, brother.
I wanted to ask Black Reset. So you say you have to save them from themselves. Now I've thought about that necessarily, but
protect them from themselves. What I mean is, uncovered women are self-destructive in nature. That's why the sexual freedom and all of that, it's all self-destructive. That's why the children are being raised the way that they are. And to protect them from themselves, just like in the Arab countries, you got to put down rules that they must abide by or die. It is not to abuse the women, it is to protect them from themselves. Because of their very nature. They need to be protected from themselves first. Then they get protection from, when they accept that protection, they get protection from outside threat. But the cost, because there has to be a cost for it, The cost is them having femininity.
Mm,
They
okay.
got to pay the cost. If they don't pay the cost, they don't get the protection. That's it.
No, I actually do agree with that. I just wanted to see if you did you do the full math
Oh
on
no
that
no no!
situation.
I'm not a Wednesday Rogers type guy. I'm not. I ain't doing
Oh,
that.
okay.
I ain't doing that.
It seemed like you did the math all the way out, so I'm happy about this because we only doing our math all the way out around here, and we no longer juggling chainsaws, so I'm happy. I'm happy.
We gonna have to make a new rule. Stop hating on the host. Stop hating on the host, y'all. I got to do some different shows here and there, y'all. I got to keep y'all guessing, okay? I'm gonna come up with another one too, just because y'all talking this crazy. I'm gonna come up with another one. Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Roger, she was bailed out for $500, like you say, with a super speeding ticket. So it probably would have been about $500, and they were going to tow a vehicle, so that probably been $200-300. So less than a grand, she would have been okay.
Yeah, she got a grand. She got a multi-million out there with Nike. A grand is nothing, you know. And somebody said in the
She
chat,
got
I don't know
multiple
who said it,
grants.
but I'm not saying it's a felony if you more than 20 miles an hour. Oh, I know in the state of Illinois, I know it's looked at differently and it's more severe when you get caught more than 20 miles an hour over. So me personally, if I speed on the expressway, it's only 15 miles over. If I'm in the 55, that's why in my area it's 55 a lot of 65. So if it's 55, I'm doing 70. You know what I'm saying? If it's
what's
65, I can do 80. But
And
I ain't
Roger,
going over that. I ain't gonna hit
Roger,
that 20 though. You know,
there was a third person involved that came to help her, but she just got a ticket because he came first, he came after, and then another track star came. And she
you
just
see,
after she see both of them getting arrested, they told her to go away, and she just got a ticket. And she took off.
and see,
what state were they in?
Florida, around Orlando.
Oh, that's the
Mm,
automatic going to jail. That's why
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
came. That's why he came in Florida. Anything over 20 miles an hour, automatic jail time.
Automatic, bro.
Automatic. Yeah,
That's what I said. I said, well, I heard I was 130. I was like, that's a super speeding ticket. Well, I got one of
yeah.
those one time. I was
It,
doing
it,
lights and I did that.
it is considered reckless driving, and you don't get a ticket. You have to go to jail.
well, he
Yeah,
explained
and
all
she
that very easily. I mean, I understood what was happening once he explained it. I don't understand why she couldn't understand it once he explained, except for the fact that she thought because she's a female, there would be some chance for her to get out this situation.
yeah, because he even
Yeah.
told her she was blowing her horn and getting people out of the way. She was trying to flashing lights and blowing the horn to get people out of the way for her 103 miles an hour
I just
race.
I
Extra
appreciate the
attention to
fact that he
detail.
said it so quickly because that let me know I might well start wasting my time because I don't want to be kissing up to you and all that if it ain't gonna go nowhere. Now, if I was doing it trying to get out of a ticket and you stop me from wasting my time because I ain't getting out this ticket and I'm not getting out of going to jail, I appreciate that because if I'm in the wrong, I'm gonna try to get out. I'm gonna try. So I agree. I understand that. I'm not even tripping that she's gonna try to get out the situation. But if you tell me right there from the beginning, no, you're going to jail no matter what. All right, well, let's just go and get this over with then. My attitude going to immediately change. So let's just get this over with. Since I cannot avoid it, let's get it over with.
No. But that's what you see that the grand thing what you did is you accepted responsibility though. See, that was
Well,
the grand thing. Like
yeah.
you accepted.
Well,
I made a mistake, and then punishment
Shikari
is coming.
Shikari is a special case. Uh, I mean, I'm not taking away the argument of female entitlement, but Shikari has done a number of things that are unique to Shikari. This woman missed an Olympics because of a marijuana, a positive marijuana test. I mean, this woman was supposed the 2020 Olympics. This was supposed to be her big, or I guess 2021 or whatever, when they had it because of the COVID thing. It was supposed to be like her big coming out party. It was supposed to be because look, I've watched female sprinters, shit since like the '70s, And I think she is potentially the fastest woman who's ever lived. Like, when you look at her, I remember when she was in college, I don't know if it was Texas or whatever, that girl is different. That girl is different.
LSU, LSU.
That girl is LSU, yeah. I mean, she was nearly breaking Flojo's record at LSU, man. I mean, when I look at her, just such missed potential with her and Christian, just such missed potential on some bullshit. I mean, and she's given, she missed the Olympics because of the marijuana thing. 1 minute she gay, but next minute she with Christian, and then it's the DB thing and the speed thing. I mean, yeah, there's female entitlement there for sure. But she's a particular fuck up. She's
Special
a
kind of crazy.
particular fuck up. It is unique to her.
But we still need her and Christian to procreate. We absolutely need that child.
No. Hold on. See,
Well, yeah,
the thing is,
that's
y'all
a
going
superhuman child.
backwards, bro. Y'all going backwards. We
That's
hunting
a
backwards,
fucking
bro.
X-Man.
No.
Hear me out, Prince of Uganda. Hear me out, Prince. Bro,
I got you.
this is the first fastest woman in the history of womanhood. This is the fifth fastest nigga in the history of niggerdom. We need this child. We got to breed these thoroughbreds together, bro.
That baby.
Okay, I got you. I got something for you though.
If you can lock Shikari up somewhere,
Oh.
Like a dog,
then maybe you'll be okay.
Before she mess up her whole life, we need this one. I'm being honest with you. I'm rooting for them to have a child.
Bro. You know what? See, the problem is we hunting backwards though. We supposed to be hunting towards the future. You know what y'all supposed to be doing? You supposed to have old bro with one of them Jamaican chicks, bro. And we supposed to be having super Negroes. See what I'm saying? Like, say we going the wrong way. Like, say, like, what did the Jamaican cats say? I thought it was in the comments. I think it was like last year or so. You need a woman that's gonna make you some strong back food, bro, so we can go ahead and win the next Olympics, bro.
No, nigga,
we supposed to be going forward. We're going backwards.
You got Wonder Woman and the Black Flash right here, right now.
I think that the Flash may be she may be in Jamaica though, bro. That's what I'm saying though. She may be in Jamaica though.
I know she crazy. I know Christian ain't doing what we want him to do. But the one thing we absolutely want from both these Negroes, we need that child.
I mean, that child is probably gonna be the first baby out the hospital after being born. He's gonna be the first one to kindergarten. It's gonna be the first kid to graduate. That kid gonna be first at everything.
We need that child.
The first craziest baby on the planet too, bro. So I mean, we got to weigh our odds on this one, bro. So
this gonna be the first baby.
With the reverse flash, bro. That's what y'all gonna create. The reverse flash. Y'all gonna create a demon out here now. See, I warned y'all ahead of time. Remember this event, though, bro.
We need this child.
Yeah, this is the top 10 child on mama and daddy's side. This is the top 10 child mama and daddy's side. That's Olympic gold medal all the way. You know what I'm saying? I can start betting on that kid now.
What about TT Terry though? But hold on. But what about hooking them up with TT Terry? She from the Caribbean. She ran the leg. No. She an awesome chick. And she cute. I don't know, bro.
She ain't Shikari. Shikari's a thoroughbred.
TT Terry a thoroughbred, bro. I don't know if you seen her, bro.
Yes, man.
Bro.
I don't know, bro.
I'm gonna say there's an exception for every rule, and having Shikari as exception from an athletic standpoint is not a bad idea. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
That's just not a bad idea. And shout out to Bad Black Gamer. Appreciate the super chat, my brother, and appreciate the Trail Bentley tax on it. He says, Mr. Sinister at Black Reset, we need this offer. We need this offering.
Bro, you don't understand. I turn into Mr. Simple, bro. I be in the gun. I turn into Mr. Simple. I'll be like, hey, I just need you and on this island for about a 1 year, baby. That's all I need. You can go back to your house.
Listen, I'm with you on most things, man. I understand we need to get away from him, but we got two very special, talented people here. We ain't gonna see this together in a relationship again in life.
They already like each other for whatever their reasons are. So it ain't, this should happen.
We couldn't get FloJo with the right dude. You see what I'm saying? We couldn't get Michael Johnson with the right dude. We didn't get Usain Bolt with the right chick. Bro, we got it together. They already together. We need this.
And that's what y'all gonna fail, bro. Because y'all keep trying to bend the reality. Y'all need to go ahead and just do what I'm telling you, bro. You hook him up with the TT Terry, bro. See what I'm saying?
No, man.
The baby gonna be cute, half island, bro. The baby can dance, and the baby can, see what I'm saying, run, bro. Hey, bro.
I'm for the passport, bros. But in this case right here, we need this. We need this one.
Special case.
All right, shout out to No Placeholder, y'all. Appreciate the super sticker, my brother. Appreciate the super sticker. And shout out to Yogami. He said, you've heard of the super soldier. Now behold, the super sprinter made in the USA. In your face.
Come on, bro. There you go.
Oh my God. It's so fucked up, but it's true.
This is it, bro.
Well, before y'all go any further, because we are past the 3 hour mark, but I'm gonna let the show move on a little bit more because my main man Jado then came up in here, y'all. 3 hours, 6 minutes of show that went past, and Jado like, I guess it's a good time for me to join the panel. You know what I'm saying? But Jado, he trying to say something. He trying to say, I'm gonna do what I want to do around these parts. That's what Jado on. But it's cool. It's cool, What's up, Jado? You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Just do
man.
whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. What's up, brother?
However, whenever, no, brother. I'm coming. Hey, I'm coming for the round table, brother. I'm coming. I don't agree with the Great Black Reset. I don't agree with you. Y'all last point. I definitely don't agree with that. But I'm coming for the round table, brother.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it.
You want some BS, brother?
We ain't never seen Jado.
I understand his logic though, but see what I'm saying? Like,
I understand it too. Definitely understand it.
He want Brawly the baby. He want the Super Saiyan baby, but I don't need Brawly the baby. I can take Goku and we'll be all right.
That's it.
Oh, bro.
See what I'm saying? The one you think is the special one may not be the one you think is truly special.
It's not going to be the special one. That motherfucker gonna come out. I'm sorry. It's gonna come out slow. It's gonna come out slow.
Ain't gonna be.
Because you're trying to force something.
The only thing gonna be slow about that child is his ability to read. That's it. Everything else gonna be quick.
All right. We gonna get back to the subject of the show. Okay. I'm
sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Baby reading skills.
Yeah, we ain't got to put everything out there like. So
not the baby reading skills.
Let's get back to the subject of the show, or I can wrap this up. It don't make no difference. But my main point though is, as men, we do really see women as special because when you think about just the statement of an honest conversation about the importance of women, I mean, I expected it to happen, but a couple people went toward reproduction. And my thing is, they're not special even in becomes reproduction because no woman can have a baby until a man gives her life. You got to have that life from that sperm so she can even do that. So we go right to importance, but it's not that important. Now it's important for a species to carry on. We can't say that's not important. In order for us to continue to live, yeah, of course, that is important. But at the end of the day, all she can do is carry the life that a man gave her. And if she was really important, how come it take about 80 women and one guy? Because you can make that species survive. You get 80 women and one guy, you got a good survival rate. You know what I'm saying? The guy seemed to be a little important. I'm just thinking numbers myself. Yeah, that guy might have a little bit more importance than women, because it only take one of him to do something that it took 80 women to do.
You got a
To me,
point.
that's kind of interesting dynamic.
You got a point. They say like 1 in every 3 Chinese are related to Genghis Khan. You got a point, sir.
Yeah.
You got a point.
I mean,
So
but your facts are right, but your interpretation of the facts are flawed. Because yeah, Genghis Khan produced a lot of people because he was fucking Genghis Khan, but the rest of us ain't Genghis Khan. So I mean, they say only about 30% of all males who have ever lived have ever reproduced, but yet we have survived as a species. And by comparison, over 80% of all females who've ever lived have reproduced. So
I mean,
my math says that for the survival of the species, the female is more important
I
from
beg
just
to
a
differ.
purely reproductive standpoint.
now I'm gonna say if we could survive as a species with only 30% of the men producing, to me, I'm gonna say that gives greater value to the men, and I'm gonna say I do believe something like that is true because in reality, men have faced wars, famine, disease. Now, I'm gonna say in American society today, it's really just come down to a choice of a lot of men don't even see women as valuable enough to produce with. Because the wars that stopped the other men ain't been there. The famines that stopped the other men have not been there. The diseases that have stopped other men have not been in there. Now it's just been a choice. And it looked like women ain't worth producing with. That's what I'm gonna say now.
Well, I mean, you could say the women aren't worth producing with. I mean, I think that's a kind of fatalistic view. Because if you're saying the women ain't worth
No.
reproducing, hold on, brother, can I make a statement? If the women ain't worth reproducing with, then you are opting out of reproducing, which means that you're opting into extinction. So then what's the value of anything if ultimately after you're dead, it's all over?
Well, I'm not saying that ain't true. I'm just saying to me that's what the facts look like. I can accept this theory that only, and I've heard 30 to 40% of men have reproduced. I can accept that as a theory. I don't necessarily believe it, but I can accept it as a theory because of disease, famines, and wars. But when you live in society and you're not facing any of those, and the men aren't reproducing, then now it's I don't know. I can't come to anything other than choice. And
So I quickly,
But
I
I
agree
mean,
with
I think
Babu and
there are lots of choices being made. I don't think they're just being made by the men. I think the women do abortion, for example, have made some choices. I think a lot of men who would have reproduced or would have wanted to reproduce were selected out of it because of the ability of women to kill their children. And depending on your numbers, by the tune of 30 to 40, 20 to 40 million, black ones in particular, since what, 1971 or whatever. And those were choices being made. Well, I mean, certainly men could influence those choices, but
Right.
by way of the law, the only one who had any legal right to dictate whether or not that those children were aborted were the women.
okay, well,
I mean,
you
that's
know what?
conflicting though.
It's,
I'm gonna say let it go because I got a whole show coming up this week about that. We gonna definitely get into that, y'all. We're gonna do whole 3 hours on that by
it,
itself.
isn't it time to start talking about replacing them? Because
Exactly.
they are
Like
replaceable.
I never talk about that part.
Well, you know what? No, my thing is realistically speaking, whether you like it or not, that's the ultimate conclusion you're gonna have
Yeah.
to come to. Because if you don't find somebody worthy to reproduce with, you can't do that from a man standpoint without choosing extinction, as Black Rule said. Because I didn't argue what he said. It's just a
Right.
reality. So therefore, to avoid extinction, you have to go into
Choose new
replacement.
women.
So it's like running a company, and the employees are not.
And to be cold blooded by it, if you don't have no children today, like if you don't have any children today, and you don't inseminate a woman today, if you drop dead today, you're done.
That
It's
is
over
true.
with for you genetically. You're over with.
Yeah. Now, shout out to Gold P, who I might get the last word, but I see Rogers first, so I don't know what he's gonna say in this super chat. Uh, Gold P says, Roger, sir, you better go on and have that baby with. You better go and have that baby with Shikari, sir. A high-speed internet baby. This is your last chance, sir. Hey brother. Real talk. Y'all might have to go on without me. I'm just gonna tell you what's real,
Man,
sir. Y'all might have to
Roger,
just go on without him. I'm gonna say good luck to you. You know what I'm
Hey
saying?
Roger,
man, I had
Roger,
5 big booty Uganda women for him, bro. He ain't want to come, bro. He don't want this, bro. He don't want the action.
Roger is going to get old girl from In Vogue. He gonna put her back together and go on about his life. That's what he doing. I already
I'm,
know what's happening there.
I'm gonna go
But
get
yeah,
Don and make her an offer she can't refuse since she homeless. Just
this is like running a corporation, and you realize you're
It
not
is.
getting the production value that you're supposed to be getting out of your employees. So what you need to start doing is you need to start firing people and hiring somebody else. The company ain't got to go down because the employees don't want to work.
now
And
I'm gonna say
that's what I've been saying, bro.
well, to bring this back to the subject of the show and close it out because we passed that 3 hour mark. At the end of the day, the real thing is at some point in time you got to remove the stupid idea that women are important because that was the idea that held me up. And when you think about it, I have admitted I bought into this. The Black community need me. They need a man like me to have children with it, be a family with them. And all. I bought into all that nonsense that people were spreading. And at the end of the day, I'm sitting there thinking I'm trying to fulfill a need of Black women where they had no desire to just be in a normal, stable situation. That was not and is not Black women's concern at this particular point. It's just not from a
Forever.
majority standpoint. So anybody who's gonna say, well, no, that's not true. No. You got 75% of women who are not married. You cannot say it's not true. That is what the masses of them are doing. They do not want to be good enough so a man would take the risk that he needs to take to marry them. That's a choice. Okay, that's a personal choice. They want men to bend to them, even though they don't want to take care of the men. And my thing is, I'm not against the men doing what the women want, but the women got to pay for it. You can't ask me to do everything you want and you don't want to pay for it. That don't make no sense. I'll do what you need me to do, but you got to pay. And if you're not gonna pay, then you need to do what you told, or make it on your own. And that's why I say for all this stuff about how women can't necessarily make it on there. No, I'm against all that. They can make it. You know what I'm saying? Some of them might make it to a trash can and have a busted life, and they may have to live in the alley. But my thing is, men have already done that, so it ain't no big deal to me. If the men can do it, they can do it. Ain't that what equality truly all about?
I'm just
Okay.
saying.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying.
If a man got to eat out the dumpster, I'm fine with her eating out the dumpster too. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I agree, Roger.
Y'all seen that video with that man with them pet rats? He was training them rats. I know y'all done seen that video. If a man got to be out here training rats to get by with his day, then it's okay for women to train rats too. That's all I'm saying. Real talk.
But train them pigeons.
Okay, real talk. So get you some rats, train them up right, and be homeless, and everything gonna be all right. Well, I'm gonna close it out here, y'all. It's been great, and I'm doing this because J-Lo wanted to be here for the round table. That's what he's saying, y'all. That's what he's saying. But I don't know if he real about it, but he said he want to get to the round table, so that's what I'm gonna do. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day,
Roger,
y'all.
can I ask you?
Well, go ahead, Baku.
Well, I was confused by the argument you were making as to whether women are important. Whether women are important is to me different than whether or not a woman is more important than I am. So I got kind of confused by what you meant by important today.
It's
So
all right.
maybe it was just me, but yeah.
No, I think it's the idea, the whole ideal about to even question a woman's importance is kind of not even something that's really even wanted in our particular society. And to say any woman is important, you are really implying that she's important than somebody else. So I think just the whole ideal or concept that women are important is an automatic misnomer, because nobody is more important than somebody else until they show that they're of a greater value than somebody else. I understand Michael Jordan's more important than me per se. I get that. Not personally, but I understand how when people look at him and people look at me, they're gonna look at what he did. And I just ain't done what he did. And I got to roll with that. It is what it is. So to say a woman is important, you're still implying she did something more than me. Well, what'd she do? Because they say that about regular everyday women. Well, what'd she do? I can accept somebody saying, well, Oprah more important, but Oprah got a track record.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I think what Rogers has presented today, and very well actually, is that women used to have kind of a cash value to men. It was like a 1-to-1. We knew what we were getting from them. But for the past 50 years, man, they've been on credit. They credit bad now. This is just what it is. They because we as men are so generous to them and have been so generous to them and have protected them and coddled them and made this country the way that it is and so convenient for them. They're just taking advantage of it with expectations, with high expectations from nowhere. They want everything given to them and they're not putting anything back into the system. They have become useless.
Now, my thing is, those are all personal choices. But at the end of the day, how am I supposed to look at a woman as important and she ain't did nothing? I'm not even saying did something for me. I'm saying from a general standpoint, she didn't go and put in the work to make herself quote unquote important like other people have, who have become celebrities, who have become sports figures, who have become politicians or whatever the case is. No, I'm supposed to see her as important just because she a woman. And to me, that just don't make a lick of sense. And I cannot operate as if she's important, because I think that's me lying to myself at that point. And I think lying is bad, but the last person I'm gonna lie to is me. And that's real talk. So I hope people kind of picked up what I'm putting out there. At the end of the day, look at yourself and look at them and stop seeing them as more important than you, because they're not. Okay? And if you got to say, oh, she can have a baby, she can't do that unless you give her the seed, bro. She's not more important than you. And you shouldn't treat her like that. Real talk. How you going to have a helpmeet that's more important than you? So even if you believe it from a religious perspective, you're still kind of going against yourself, because if you of it from a religious perspective, you supposed to be the authority to her. And if you looking at it from a non-religious perspective, you're supposed to be in an equal society when you live in America. So how is she more important than you? No way you can say this stuff doesn't make any sense. There's just no way to verify that it makes sense. You got to be literally in la la land. So I'm asking brothers and any sisters who hear this, why don't we just step out of la la land, because they ain't really helping. That's real talk. But again, I'm gonna wrap
But
it
they
up.
got cookies though. They got A1 cookies up here though, man. I'm checking it, and they got shots of Patron out here in the back, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. La La Land is perfect, bro.
Well, I'm gonna say, Blackwell, I hope I cleared up where I was going with this to you. I hope I cleared that up.
No,
I hope so.
I better understand. I mean, you were sort of juxtaposing their value in relation to us or whatever. So I guess I understand what you're saying there. Yeah, I agree they don't have importance just because they exist. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
And I think that's the message that society is really pushing, that they are important just because they exist, but they're doing it as they're more important than the men that exist around them. And my thing is that's just where it goes too far,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So
no,
y'all,
I think we've had lots of problems because of that. So I agree.
okay. All right, well, I'm gonna close this
Somebody
one
got to
on
pay for
down,
these
y'all.
hoes.
It, it's been wonderful. If y'all like listening to the best show that social media has to offer, make sure you subscribe over here at the Roger Report Live. We do this at 9 a.m. Chicago time, not Florida time. What y'all say she got arrested? Not Shikari speed time. Not Christian, I'm trying to save him, go to jail time. No, Chicago time, 9 a.m., y'all. That's where you'll find us Monday through Friday. Y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.